15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Which rookie NFL quarterback is going to be taking the field soon? And it could be spectacular. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on vacation this week, so Andrew Bogusch is sliding over. Good morning, Bogues. What's up?
Maggie, good morning. I am super excited to be here. This has been on the books for a while. Get rid of my nemesis, Perloff, and I get to hang out with you for 4 hours for a whole week. I love it.
I know. Most importantly, we have to, before this week is up, we have to find a way to team up you and I against Perloff to make him jealous that you and I have become friends, and now he's going to get left out of the mix because I know Perloff very well. It's the only way to really bring him to the table. You got to make him feel like he's missing out on something. But
I was going to say he's not capable of those emotions, but if you think he is, then let's do it.
There's more to Perloff than meets the eye. There could be more to the Washington Commanders that meets the eye, transition, and that's because we know for sure, Bogusch, that Caleb Williams is going to be starting, right? He's one of these 6 rookies taken in the first round. We know Caleb Williams, this is his world. Nobody is going to be taking this away from him. As for the other guys, well, everyone else is pretty much up in the air. I mean, Drake May for the New England Patriots, is there really a reason for him to be starting right away? The Patriots have no expectations whatsoever. Michael Penix is right now behind Kirk Cousins down Atlanta. Bo Nix is in a 3-way competition right now with Jarrett Stidham and maybe even Zach Wilson. And Jayden Daniels is really the guy where it was like a will he, won't he? And it's looking more and more like he will. We're not sure if he's going to start this preseason game when the Commanders take on the Jets, but I love this for Jayden Daniels. I think that he should absolutely be starting week 1. The offensive line isn't great. It's not abysmal. This is why he has his legs. He can use them to get away from trouble. I don't know why the Commanders really would start Marcus Mariota, no disrespect, as opposed to just getting Daniels out there. You need some positivity in this organization. You got Cliff Kingsbury. He can design an offense. Not a great head coach, but he can design an offense. Why wait on Daniels?
Yeah, it feels like sometimes coaches and GMs and teams kind of overthink things and try to be smarter than everybody else. Like, we know the deal here.
Yes.
We know the answer is not Marcus Mariota. It's not Sam Hartman. The answer is Jayden Daniels. And if it's serving him some benefit to not name him the starter now and just put all this on it, okay, fine. But we know where this is going to end. And as you said, it should end here because he's clearly their best option. There's a reason why he's the number 2 pick. And there's a reason why other teams would have loved to go get him at number 2 if they knew the Commanders didn't want to stay there with all their might to make sure they have him. So if you need to go slow here, I get it a little bit, but I'm glad he's going to see some preseason time, and he kind of better be their starter in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Listen, it's the NFC East. You have your New York Giants, who I don't know what the expectation is for them.
I'm still not sure I'm claiming them.
Well, okay. I mean, well, then you can't jump on the bandwagon when they've won 7 games. Just kidding. But I think that this is not a situation like you have for Drake May, where you're in the AFC and quite frankly, you don't have a prayer. Yes, I know the NFC has good teams in it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying with the NFC East, you're telling me you can't stay in the hunt if you're Washington. I'm looking at their away games besides the NFC East games they have to play. They're at Tampa. That's to start the season. So week 1 can be a toss-up. Okay, at Cincinnati, at Baltimore, those are tough. At New Orleans, the atmosphere is tough, but I don't think the team is going to be particularly great. You have to find a way. Like, this is not a murderer's row of an away schedule. Like this, there are winnable games here. Tampa, New Orleans specifically. And then you've got to work now on getting your home field advantage back. And that's where Jayden Daniels comes in. You put in Marcus Mariota or you put in somebody else, it's not going to have that same vibe. I know they're trying to get a new stadium there. You have got to get this like home crowd back on your side from basically all the fan trauma. And I don't mean to be, hyperbole about that, but it's been dreadful for that fan base. Jayden Daniels is the only way to fix it.
Yeah, and you can't make the move just for the fans, but the fans do deserve something nice. It's not their fault that Dan Snyder owned the team and embarrassed them at every possible turn, and that they have to go to the worst stadium by almost every metric in the NFL to watch their team play. But they deserve something nice, and Jayden Daniels appears to be something nice. And to keep using the Patriots, comparison here, it makes sense to me that Jacoby Brissett's the better quarterback than Drake May on week 1. I don't think there's a world where Mariota or Hartman is better than Jayden Daniels in week 1, unless Jayden Daniels just needs that much time to get ready to be an NFL quarterback. But I don't think that's the case. So if you want to play it slow here, that's fine. But this should end with him being their number 1 guy. And then there is a conversation about, because I'm not high on the Cowboys at all this year, and I don't know what the Giants are. So, I mean, there's a little bit of an opening in that division to maybe get a win or two that you didn't expect to get, and that makes your record 1 or 2 wins better. And then all of a sudden, you're a little closer to that wild card conversation with certainly more question marks in the NFC than the AFC in terms of open spots and who's going to be good and who could kind of sneak in here. So the Commanders, there are pieces to like there. And if Daniels takes off, then they definitely could be a sneaky good team, assuming, and that begins with him being their guy for week 1.
I also think we're talking about the Washington Commanders. It looks like Jayden Daniels is going to play in the first preseason game. As we mentioned, of the 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, Caleb Williams is a no-doubt starter. Find us the other no-doubt starter. It's got to be Jayden Daniels. I believe he will be the no-doubt starter week 1. As far as the J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix and Drake May and Michael Penix, I don't know if there's a starter in that bunch, at least to start off the season. You mentioned the rest of the NFC, and this is where it also gets interesting. So I think we all believe that the NFC North is going to be good, real good.
Yes.
Like, you have Detroit, you have Green Bay, everyone's really high on them. We'll see what Caleb Williams does with Chicago. NFC South, I think you're getting one team. One team's going to the playoffs. Whoever wins that division is getting in. NFC West, obviously it's been the 49ers world that we're all living in, at least right now. Seahawks still dealing with a Geno Smith injury to the hip and the knee. The Rams, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Puka Nacua got hurt yesterday. Their offensive line has just been guys going down left and right. And I think the Cardinals are a little bit in limbo. The NFC East will have one winner, and you're right. That's where that 7th seed for the NFC, that wild card, like, why not the Commanders? And why not them getting a new coach bump with Dan Quinn, who's been in this division for the last 4 years and understands, if anyone knows, like, Dak Prescott's weaknesses, Jalen Hurts' weaknesses, it's going to be Dan Quinn, who is just the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
Yes, somebody's got to be good out of nowhere, right? Like, you can't, I don't want to just rely on history, but the history of the NFL tells us that there's always going to be surprising teams. And when you kind of nitpick the Commanders, plus, we still don't know what's going to happen in San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk, right? And every time there's a wide receiver available, the Commanders get mentioned to tag on somebody to Terry McLaurin and give Jayden Daniels another weapon.
Those former college teammate, right? So they love each other.
So, I mean, like, there is always that random possibility too. But aside from that, I mean, they've got some guys on defense. They've got a good, smart defensive coordinator for the most part in Dan Quinn as the head coach overseeing the defense to a certain extent. And their pieces on offense were kind of missing a front-end quarterback, and they think they now have a front-end quarterback. And I just not loving that division allows somebody to sneak in there and all of a sudden have 9 wins. You're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And how are they playing important games in December?
Yeah, it could be that for the Washington Commanders. Again, this is going to be Jayden Daniels. We're not sure if he's going to start the preseason game, but he will be playing in the preseason, and it looks like he's on his way to starting. You're welcome to weigh in on the team you think could be out of nowhere at 855-212-4227. I know Perloff not here this week. Bogish is sitting in. He's big on Jayden Daniels winning Rookie of the Year, and I see where his thought process comes in. I think it's going to be Caleb. I think we're in a Caleb world here, and it's just going to be him. With a sizable lead, even just walking into the season, then it's like
it feels a little like Wemby. Like as long as Wemby doesn't wet himself, he's going to be Rookie of the Year. And Caleb Williams seems to be in that same position that as long as he plays in the neighborhood of where we think he can play, he's going to be offensive.
It's his to lose, right? And so, but Jayden Daniels, I could see him having a big statistical season or a very nice statistical season. He might be running for his life a little bit behind that offensive line. That's a possibility, leaving that open. But 2, he does have weapons and he does use his legs a lot. So he's one of the most interesting rookies, I think, out of the 6. Caleb for the generational reasons, of course, but you have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and seeing what he can do on the next level is far more intriguing to me than what J.J. McCarthy is going to do or what Bo Nix is going to do.
And it is kind of, Jayden is this weird inflection point as the kind of the transition. Is he closer to Caleb Williams, or is he closer to the other guys who we acknowledge there is a significant drop-off to Drake May and McCarthy and the out-of-nowhere Penix pick and then Bo Nix. So, Jayden Daniels, most people seem to think and believe that he's closer to Caleb Williams, and there certainly was, other years he would have been the number one pick. And everyone always tries to talk up guys and try to close the gap between the two. The Bears are never going to not take Caleb Williams, but Jayden Daniels is a super talented guy that played in a super tough division, a conference, I should say, in college football. And you keep mentioning his legs, like that's an important kind of tiebreaker here to allow him to buy himself time to survive some trouble that other rookie quarterbacks behind offensive lines who are a little less athletic, they couldn't survive it, and it really cost them. But if he can make plays and get himself away from trouble and let those playmakers on offense do some things, again, that's where that's where I see the excitement and why Perloff thinks he might be Rookie of the Year.
I mean, the thing about Daniels is he's a little slight, he's kind of tall and a little slight, but you saw last year Anthony Richardson is built like, out of a lab of what you'd want a quarterback to look like, and he went down. So there's no rhyme or reason to those kinds of things. You're welcome to weigh in, whether it's the Commanders at 855-212-4227 or another team you think people are sleeping on. You are welcome to weigh in on that. We've got a lot to do, including... Bogish came in this morning. I mentioned something about the Olympics of an observation that I had yesterday, and I could already tell you didn't like it. You didn't say you didn't like it, but am I being that person that's raining on the parade? That's what I'm worried about.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now. What did I don't want to hurt you already out of the gate. What did I do?
No, you didn't do anything. It was just, a look. Just subtle. I'm a big body language person.
I got to watch my step. Well, I'm going to pre-apologize.
No, I might be in the wrong.
Still not knowing what I did?
I might be in the wrong. Maybe this is just a bad observation from me, but it has something to do with yesterday. I think yesterday was probably a big Olympic TV day for people out there. I know it was raining all over the East Coast, so maybe you were stuck inside. Maybe like EJ, maybe you're hard up. Something I observed from yesterday. I'll tell you if I'm in the right or the wrong, or you tell me next. It's Maggie and Perloff. Bogish is in for Perloff today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogusch in for Perloff today. All right, I came in. Bogusch is here. I said something about the Olympics. I could tell you were basically not on board by your silence, I think. No, I'm just... maybe I'm in the wrong. This could happen. So Noah Lyles is obviously Olympic star, now can claim fastest man in the world. Won the 100-meter dash, and he won it by 5/100ths of a second. Can you really go around claiming I'm the fastest, I'm the greatest, I'm this, that, and the other thing when you won by 5/100ths of a second? This is not exactly Usain Bolt throwing up deuces like a peace sign to the guys behind him, like Tyreek Hill streaking into the end zone. You won by 5/100ths of a second. Like there needs to be a little more humility when you win by 5/100ths of a second.
Oh, okay. So now I'm glad I know now where this happened, because I still didn't know what I did to you. Now I do want to say that
you didn't do anything. I can just tell. It's like, oh, that didn't go over well. I'm raining on Noah Lyles' parade.
I think there's a generic 5:40 to 6 a.m. Eastern window, especially when there are new characters in the building this morning where they're not normally here. You're just not going to get the best of me at that moment.
No.
I hear you. I just think, though, I guess I do think if you win, you win. And whether it's by 5 full seconds or 5/10 or whatever, you might as well call yourself the fastest dude on the planet. I mean, he technically is.
I mean, come on. Like, he thought the other guy won, even.
NBC thought the other guy won.
Yeah, a lot of people thought the other guy won. And to be honest, I'm not still sure that Noah Lyles actually won. I'm happy for him. He's got a good story and all that. It's not that. It's just if you win by that small of a fraction, we're talking about less than an eyelash. Do you really get to do the brag, boast, oh, I'm the baddest man? It's like, you barely won.
Now,
barely.
I'm glad you just said what you did say. I still can't look at that picture and pick a winner. Like, I don't know. Like, is there a better
photo
one?
finish.
For the photo finish, like I see feet across the line. I see two heads leaning forward. But I don't know that anybody even won that. Like, let's rerun the whole race.
And then I do that. Apparently, it's the torso. It's the torso. So if you are looking at a photo finish, I know obviously we're on radio, it's really, really, really close. And I just think you can't really beat your chest that hard when you won by 5/100ths of a second. EJ is at the home studios and you're shaking your head. I'm the bad guy now.
Yeah. You call yourself Razor Ramon, Maggie. What is this? I mean, Maggie, it's like when a player hits a 3-point shot to win a game, or a person scores a touchdown on the last second. Like, yeah, you won barely, but that's the most exciting way to win. Of course, you're gonna pump your chest out and say you're the greatest. Like that, it's the same thing. It's just, this is track. We won at the very last moment. These are the most exciting finishes we have in sports. We can't just mix it up now because it's a track thing and say, well, he wasn't that dominant.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't that it wasn't exciting, but you can't say he was dominant. He was not. That if they still told you today, the guy from Jamaica, sorry, I don't know his name, that if he had won, we all would have accepted that too. That's how close this thing was. And Noah Lyles wouldn't have even gotten like hosed, quote unquote, or anything.
But think about Mike hitting the shot, holding up the arm. Think about LeBron James hitting the three, doing the silencer. Like, those are celebrations after very close wins, right? So that's the only difference. We're just bringing this to track. I don't know how you could poo-poo this, Maggie. This is crazy.
No, I was told that Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever because he never went to a Game 7 in a finals, and because he was so dominant, he never missed a shot, and no one else ever hit a shot when Michael Jordan happened to be on the court. His thing was about full, utter domination. That's his legacy. This is not domination. This was an eyelash, a chest hair, or whatever this was. And I don't think you can, and I get why Noah Lyles would want to make this his moment. It is his moment. But can you really go all big bad? I'm the fastest man in the world. Like, are we sure? That other guy was right there.
Yeah, I think, Maggie, you're winning me over here. This does not feel like Jordan holding up his hand over anybody. No. Poor Craig Elo. This feels more like a defensive back celebrating an incomplete pass. He was beaten, and the quarterback doesn't make the throw, or the receiver doesn't make the catch, and he gets up and he's waving incomplete, right. like he did something. Because it's like, the thing is, he won because his pectoral muscle got there.
He leaned
first. Like, yeah, it was
Sheryl
exciting.
Sandberg.
But again, Usain Bolt broke the world record while slowing down to gloat. And this guy just won because his stride was correct.
Well, he did recover. He didn't have a great start, so I guess that he definitely deserves credit. How you can recover in a race that lasts 9.5 seconds is really a marvel. I'm not saying I don't respect it. I do. I just don't know if you can do the whole big bad brag about it thing when you won by 5/100ths of a second. Big Zoo, I'd love your thoughts on this. I know you're watching the Olympics. What do you got for us, Big Zoo? What do you think? Does Noah Lyles deserve the victory tour fastest man on the planet when you win by 5/100ths of a second?
I mean, he won the race. I guess that's what it comes down to. So if you want to do it, go right ahead. If you want to be humble, go right ahead. I think if he takes the 200 meter, which is actually, I believe, his better event, then you really have a case at that point. I think we're on track for that. So no, Lyles, you know what? If you want to go ahead and call yourself the fastest man in the world, go right ahead. You're a world champion, bro. You won the meet at the Olympics. Go ahead, call yourself a world champion.
Very Bilotti-esque. Winners and losers, black and white here.
He's the one that came out and was talking during the FIBA World Cup last year about how Germany or whoever it is should be calling themselves the world champs, not the Denver Nuggets and all that stuff. He was that guy.
He railed against the NBA players calling themselves world champions when they win an NBA title by saying the U.S. isn't the world. And I get from his point of view and from his sport, the U.S. isn't the world. The world's the world. But in the NBA, I mean, come on. It's the best players. I have no problem with the NBA doing that.
It's not like, UConn winning the national championship and going, we're the world champions.
Well, the only sport I have a problem with the athletes who win the championship saying we're the greatest in the world is the NFL. It's like no one else is playing it.
Yeah, that's true, except for in 2028 when they add it to the Olympics.
Yeah, great. So Aaron Rodgers can go and flamethrow.
I was saying this last week. I'm wondering. I'm like, are any teams going to allow anybody to go and play in the Olympics like a week before training camp?
Yeah, the answer is definitely no. Without a doubt.
What guys are we going to get in this?
We got guys.
We do have an abundance of dudes just running around waiting to play football.
That's what I'm saying. It's American football. So you call yourself like, we're the greatest in the world, and someone is sitting there in like Pakistan, like, sure, take it. I mean, what are you going to do? They don't even play American football in 95% of the globe.
I don't want to get carried away, guys, but in 4 years, they would probably be 2 Schwartz sons age eligible for Team USA.
Let's go.
Do you need a long snapper when it's flag?
We could put a
Do they
team
kick in the
together.
flag football?
We could probably put a team together and go and win a medal at the Olympics
I
in
don't know
2028.
that.
Let's peel back the curtain just for a second here. Last week, I was presented in the newsroom an offer to join the sailing team. That
Not just to join. You would have been the skipper.
Well,
Wait, what?
Yeah, so I was offered a spot on the team. And then Zoo thought it was a pirate ship. When I said, it's not a pirate ship, he's like, you should be the captain. So that's how he got to me being in charge. I knew the type of vessel we'd be using, that we wouldn't have Captain Hook gear on a pirate ship.
Wait a minute.
on. I
Back
thought
up,
we were
back
gonna-
up, back up.
Sailing, it's an Olympic sport.
No,
so I thought
I
you have to
know.
like pull the sails and you have to be running around the ship.
Who's sailing around here?
Plundering.
What do you guys? You guys are sailing?
Yeah, it
We
was
could
me,
sail to the
Zoo,
Olympics.
Anthony Gallo. I think maybe Stu Kovacs is going to be involved. There was
Manny, were you there for this?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Good. You're out anyway.
Yeah, no, now you're not in.
Wait,
You're
Zoo,
clearly not
Anthony
seaworthy.
Gallo, Stu, I trust. You guys are going to be. I'm worried for you.
You should
I'm worried
be.
somebody's going to fall overboard.
It's okay.
You're never going to get off the dock. To fall
How did you
overboard.
get elevated to skipper? Why? Because you're the oldest?
No, because I think part of it, and also I knew that it wasn't a pirate ship, so I had the most knowledge of the event.
It's a new
of the
voyage
group.
of the Mimi.
Wow.
I
The
think you
Nina
need
the
to have,
Pinta, the Santa was stupid. That is so funny.
Bogish has the face of a guy who is the captain of a ship. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So when
I
we
think so.
walk up to the Olympics and we go, we're here for sailing, they'll be like, oh, yeah, of course, they're here for sailing.
I could see you wearing boat shoes, but I think that's as close as Bogish is getting.
But then here comes my crew behind me. Zoo, Gallo,
Yo,
puffs of smoke overhead.
I was gonna say, do you guys even know what direction the boat's going in?
We're just singing in our striped shirts. We're ready to go.
You guys would be so stoned you would think you'd fall off the edge of the earth.
Hey, just tell us where to pull. We're ready to go.
It's like, hey, was that a mermaid out there? Like, no, you've just been smoking weed for 5 hours.
We're immediately off course.
This is a 50-second race, and you guys are taking 25 minutes.
Oh, man. Where do I get on board? Pun
Maggie, if you want
intended.
to join, I think we need like 20 people in order to be able to do the sailing.
I just
it's a
honestly,
ship.
I just want a T-shirt that says Infinity Sports Network Yacht Club or something.
ISNYC.
We can have shirts without a boat. We can just get the gear.
We could just do that.
Yeah, let's just say we have a sailing team.
I
I
mean,
can
this
see
is
Zoo
great
with,
digital content, by the
with
way.
the
Yes.
captain's hat on, like he's Smales
Oh.
from.
And like the striped Popeye shirt, maybe a red kerchief around your neck
Would
as well.
you be my first mate?
I know sailing. It's like sex to you people. I've always thought that about you, Zoo. Manny, I think you look like with this new haircut. And I don't know if this haircut is new, but it's new to us.
I got a haircut like 2 weeks ago.
YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet,
Can't even look at you.
Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and at Maggie Gray. It's a game changer for you. I didn't even know you were capable of this kind of haircut. You look like the prime minister.
Yeah,
The
that kind of
president.
hurt.
No, it's amazing. You look like you are at the head of the cabinet
Yeah.
for
You're like
some country. I'm not sure which one yet.
Well,
You're like a shapeshifter.
I know.
This is
Thank
your
you, I
third
guess.
different person you've come here as.
I think Manny looks like somebody who has like the president behind him putting a medal around your neck. Like that's what the haircut looks like. It looks like you're about to receive an award, a prestigious one.
He's
Thank
missing
you.
a stash, though.
I know he's clean shaven. There's no mustache. It's like you got traded to the Yankees.
I mean that's what I did this morning. I shaved this morning in the pitch black. I don't know if I missed any spots, but I mean, yeah, I shaved this morning, and I'm sorry I treated the show like the Yankees and just trying to be well presented, well represented for the show this morning.
No, you don't have to apologize. It looks like you're ready to take over the network. I mean,
I'm good.
Has anyone climbed a corporate ladder faster off a haircut? I mean, and your ability and sparkling personality and all that other stuff. But I think the haircut's really leading the way.
Thanks, Chris.
And this all began with your brother getting married and demanding you shave your face.
More or less.
That led to the clean shave. Mm-hmm. Then now the hat's off.
Right.
And now your hair is combed and gelled and slicked back.
A little bit of wax, yeah.
There's just a lot.
Wax.
I know.
Yeah.
Beeswax.
Yeah, a little TikTok research on how to, make myself look presentable. Who's laughing over there?
All you're missing
America.
are the fake glasses. The fake glasses that make,
I do have a pair of fake glasses. I think they're at home, though. I don't have them on me.
man.
You're like
Mandy's going to be like our new, let alone boss, overlord. I feel like boss is not strong enough.
there's like business Barbie, nurse Barbie, beach Barbie. And then there's
Barbie.
There's update man.
Sailing Barbie. Maybe. Well, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Manny Rodriguez is here with the updates. Take it away.
It's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. One of the most popular events of the Olympics took place on Sunday night in Stade de France, the men's 100-meter final. The world's fastest men took to the starting blocks, and this is what it sounded like on NBC.
There's an Olympic gold medal waiting for somebody who wants it the most. Now Thompson starts to wind up. Curley's going with him. This is close. Jamaica's going to do it. Keshane Thompson is a gold medalist on debut.
It seemed as though Jamaica's Keshane Thompson had crossed the line first, winning gold, but upon further review, it revealed Lee Diffie jumped the gun.
Let's look again at how close this was on the line. It's the torso that gets you the win. And right there, you can see a little bit of daylight between Keshane Thompson of Jamaica's torso and the line. Noah just outleaned him, so they both are credited with 9.79, but there's 5 thousandths in between them, and that's the difference between gold and silver tonight.
Yes,
5
Florida.
thousandths. Wow.
Florida native Noah Lyles uses his chest and wins gold at the 100 meter by 5 thousandths of a second, becoming the first American to win the event since Justin Gatlin in 2004.
Hey, Justin.
I said 500. I meant 5 thousandths of a second. You really can't boast that you are the fastest man alive when you will only win the race by that much. And by the way, I'm sure the guy who called the race feels awful. Who's to know? And I feel bad that Noah Lyles doesn't have like his Olympic moment with the call, like the Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles, something that's going to last forever. But to be fair, I mean, what do you do in that situation? You probably just make no call?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to say, like, it's a photo finish or it's too close to call, or even just, I think Jamaica won.
Right.
He declared it like the guy crossed by himself in just full daylight, and there was no question about it. I was wondering, though, because I saw it live in the afternoon, and then I was asleep before NBC got back to it live. I saw the semifinals and the re-air at night. They played that call last night, right? Because other announcers would have almost demanded to be able to redo the call for the re-air later on. Like, you think Al Michaels letting that stand if he makes that mistake?
What about AI Al Michaels? Who's
Either
also
way.
at the Olympics, apparently. What do you do in that sense? I don't know, because if you're NBC, do you create more attention and call more attention when you try to rewrite history in this way, as opposed to just, this is what happened, and this is how close it was? I think you leave it.
I think the BBC call was just like, we don't know who won, right?
It was, yeah.
So like it was surprising to me. Now, I've never called a race like that, but calling an event in any way, like when you don't know, you shouldn't say that you know. So I'm surprised that he thought so firmly that Thompson had won. But it sucks. Like that would ruin my entire Olympics. And that guy and Dan Hicks in the pool, like, this is what we know them for. I think his name is Lee Giffey. I mean, she's great, but that would ruin everything. It's the only thing I could think of.
I know, but you got to treat it like you're the athlete. You just got to put it past you and move on to the next race. Like, you can't let this whole thing define who you are.
I was trying to think of the worst mistake I've made on a broadcast, and here's how hard it messed with my head, that it's now probably 8 years later, and I still blame somebody else for it. That we were it was a high school game, and we were given a roster, and the roster had the wrong numbers for 2 kids. So we had a kid I called the kid having a tremendous, and it's high school, so you don't know them by sight. Like, if you told me that LeBron's number was 99
Right.
and he went out there in 6, I would know that LeBron is not wearing 99 today. But when they tell you that EJ Stewart is from St. Francis Prep is wearing number 3, you've got to trust that. But if somebody switches and his buddy,
Damn right, go Terriers.
and his buddy Manny Rodriguez then scores 14 first half points, you're going, what a game Manny had. And then somebody halftime goes, that's actually EJ. You feel like a dope. But then you sell out the roster mistake. That wasn't my fault still.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's get this audio to the correct people, notably a therapist, because you got to let this go, dude. I'm sure those high school kids definitely let it go. You know what? He'll be better in the 200. Lee Giffey?
He'll say nothing. Just silence.
Yeah. Do you notice? I think I noticed this now on college football and the NFL. When there's like a weird, is it a touchdown? Is it not? Just lay out. Mm-hmm. It's like, is it a score? And then they wait.
No call yet.
No call yet. At least Jim Nance tries to do that before Tony Romo jumps in and farts all over the call. Manny, what else is up?
Oh, wow. Fred Curley, by the way, he finished third. He wins the bronze. He finished 0.03 of a second behind Lyles. So that was the difference between gold and bronze.
I was telling Maggie this off the air before the show. There's a picture, a zoom in of the finish line, and when you can see Lyles, and then there's a guy behind him who's still in the shot, who's just like, I don't even know what's the distance between the two of them. That guy finished 4th.
Yep,
so
not even
no
on the
medal,
podium.
completely lost to history, and he was like a head width behind the fastest man on the planet. One of the
closest finishes that we have seen, not only at the Olympics in the 100 meter, but also in the world. Not only at the Olympics, but in the world. To the NFL, Quandre Diggs, he is headed to the Titans on a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million. Diggs made a career-high 95 tackles and had 1 interception in 17 games last season with the Seahawks. The move reunites him with Jamal Adams, who admitted at the start of camp that he and Diggs talked every day over summer break and hoped of being teammates again. To the Bigs, it might be time to check in daily on what Aaron Judge is doing in the Bronx after starting his afternoon 1 for 2 with a strikeout. The Blue Jays decided to intentionally walk him in his final 3 plate appearances as the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 4-3 in 10 innings. Judge hit 2 more home runs over the weekend, giving him 41 on the season and 103 runs batted in. The Twins, they beat the White Sox 13-7, make it 20 consecutive losses for the Southsiders. Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, they each went yard as the O's beat the Guardians 9-5. Phillies' losing streak is over. They shut the Mariners out 6-0, and the Cubs defeated the Cardinals on Sunday Night Baseball 6-2.
Prime Minister Manny Rodriguez, fantastic job. Appreciate that very much. Got a lot more to unpack.
Thank you for your service.
Including touching moment from over the weekend. Want to get to that for sure. And we will tell you who is going to be the next first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. We're going to tell you. We're going to do that next. It's Maggie and Perloff. Bogish in for Perloff this week.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Moment over the weekend. Welcome back. It's Maggie Gray. Andrew Bogish is in for Andrew Perloff, was on vacation this week. Well deserved. The Pro Football Hall of Fame induction, Bogues. Kind of, great class. Can't really nitpick with the class. It was, exciting for sure, but no speech came close to the visual that we got with Steve McMichael. I mean, it was an unreal scene. He is battling ALS. He's bedridden. He can't speak. Had his 1985 Bears teammates around him along with his wife and his daughter. They brought the bus to his home in suburban Chicago. I thought they did such an incredible job given the circumstances, yet it was heart-wrenching to see him in the bed like that.
It was like simultaneously beautiful and like soul crushing because what a horrible disease that is that nobody should have to deal with. Nobody deserves. The fact that we still don't know how to address it, fix it, solve it, even just like slow down the effects of it is heartbreaking. And yeah, I mean that poor man and the poor. I even was thinking like the effort it must have taken just to put the jacket on him too, in the bed. But then everyone standing around him and all the. It was his sister, right, that read his speech. I don't want to say stole the show, but like everybody else, and like Andre Johnson gave a great speech and talking to all the Texans. This is for all of us. We're all going in because he's the first Texan to go in the Hall of Fame. But it's just hard to not think about everything involving Steve McMichael. Even like the sad part, like I don't know what he knows about what's going on, and can he even appreciate that he's in the Hall of Fame now?
Yeah, you hope, right?
Right.
I mean, and I think that's also the devastating thing. One of the many devastating things about ALS is that your mind is there. It's just your body has just completely been ravaged by the disease. Or I believe that to be the case, and I'm hoping that he did get something really big out of that, and like maybe one of the last, maybe truly significant moments. I don't know, at least from his professional career. And it was just gut-wrenching. It really was. And I thought, again, that the Pro Football Hall of Fame did a very nice job in trying to make that as special as possible. And I think they really achieved it. We always are looking towards what's the next thing, right? What's the next? Nothing's ever going to top that Steve McMichael. Nothing. That will live forever. As far as next year's class, this is going to be a very interesting one in terms of the first ballot Hall of Famers who are eligible. Now, I think the no-doubters, guys who are getting in first ballot, is probably Luke Kuechly. At least has the highest legend score by the certain metrics. Adam Vinatieri, I wonder if he's first ballot or if they're going to make him wait. And then your guy, Eli Manning, is going to be very, very controversial. Marshawn Lynch, Joe Staley, Earl Thomas, Marshall Yanda. These are just some of the top guys. I think the no-doubters are Luke Kuechly and probably Earl Thomas.
I don't know what I read 4 or 5 because everybody wrote about this too. From my very quick kind of like scan of the internet last night, it seems like Kuechly, Eli, Terrell Suggs are the most guaranteed to go in. But let me set the table. I love the NFL's process of a writer or a journalist from every city presenting a candidate. They talk about it. They weave, they weave it all the way down to 15, and they get in this room and they make the pitch and they defend it. It's better than just ballots or whatever for baseball and basketball. But I don't like the cap the NFL has where it's only 5, like modern day, because to me, there's a backlog. And I would love for them to 1 year, if they could, and obviously it complicates the weekend and whatnot and all the speeches, but just kind of like put an infinite number of guys in, or whatever the opposite of that is, like clear the deck, so to speak, because you've got 2 or 3, maybe 4 legit first-timers here, but we also still haven't put in like Torrey Holt or Steve Smith Jr., Willie Anderson's floating around there. Like, get some guys out of the way for a little bit so we can circle back and really start from scratch. And the guys who deserve to go, because I do believe that going in first ballot is a special honor.
Yeah.
And you should be able to get in on that, not be hindered because, we only have 2 open spaces this year.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I like how elite it is. I've liked this. I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame, I feel like, has gotten really like off track in a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of it is can they help it? Can they not help it? What would you do about the steroid era? What would you do about Barry Bonds? Roger Clemens. Everyone's got their own, like opinions about that. That's not what's the case at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but I do actually like that they keep it really small every year. And yeah, there's this backlog, but then people do still get in. There was like this backlog of wide receivers, and now for the most part, I think all of them are in. You mentioned Torrey Holt. He deserves to be in, and I think he'll get there.
But also, not to be over dramatic, but when guys don't get in because of numbers, then to kind of indirectly go back to Steve McMichael, you don't know what's going to happen over 365 days. And a guy might not be around for
to enjoy it.
That's a very extreme circumstance. But like if your argument's just like, we can only take 5 guys and there are 7 deserving, so sorry to those 2 guys. A lot happens in a year.
But I like it's almost like what Dion says about the inner circle Hall of Famer, right? It's like if there really are 7 guys, well, probably not 7 are actually first ballot then. Then your first ballot becomes like the elite of the elite, which is why the most polarizing one is going to be Eli Manning. And I don't think he's getting in first ballot. I think Eli Manning will get in, but I don't think he's getting in first ballot, and I think that's right. Eli Manning has one of the great Super Bowl wins of all time. To take down the undefeated Patriots, that is unreal. And then to do it again, to validate it again and beat Tom Brady in that way, I mean, Eli, with his last name, he's definitely getting in, but there's no one on this earth who thinks Eli Manning should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He should be Peyton. He's not Peyton. He's little brother.
If it was a blank slate and if they're looking for 5 people, he would get in first ballot, because I don't know how you can and you'd think that I'm, as a New Yorker, like those Super Bowls were my Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like those were great adult memories of winning Super Bowls, and both of them out of nowhere too, which arguably is the best kind. It's one thing to win when you're expected to win. To win when you're not is an extra great feeling.
Yeah.
So you'd think I'd be gung ho for Eli, like waive the 5-year waiting period, put the dude in right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, my Eli memories are just as much as that. How did I get here face after throwing an interception where you want to like strangle the dude? But when you look at every 2-time Super Bowl MVP, which he is either in the Hall of Fame already, or is Brady not eligible, or Mahomes still playing.
Right.
He's gonna get in off of that sentence alone.
And I'm not saying there's not a place for Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame, but not first ballot. It should not be first ballot. And that's what I like about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is reserved for that first ballot feels like the best of the best. Or in some case, I know it's not perfect, the media holds a grudge, like T.O. T.O. should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. He wasn't, and that was for reasons that were definitely off the field. EJ, I feel like you want to get in on this. Do you like how the Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't do it? And do you think Eli will be first ballot?
I like how the Pro Football Hall of Fame does it. I don't love the idea of first ballot, second ballot Hall of Famer. That always has driven me crazy. To me, it's like either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. That's what you're voting for. So I like how the Pro Football Hall of Fame does it, but I don't think that a new 5 should almost get more credence over guys who have been waiting around, which feels like that does happen, because I don't know how Torrey Holt, at this point, his career still isn't a Hall of Famer. Like, there are guys getting in that I don't think were better than him, but are getting in, I feel like, because they're like a fresh face. But when it comes to Eli Manning, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not first ballot. I mean, when I think of 2-time Super Bowl, Bogus makes MVPs, that's true. But I also think of 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, and someone like Jim Plunkett is not in the Hall of Fame at all. And I'm not saying that Eli Manning was that much, he was a little better than Jim Plunkett, I think, as an NFL player, but he was not head and shoulders above him as a player. So to me, I think Eli gets in. I cannot put him in first ballot. I don't really love the first ballot thing anyway, but if you're going to do this exercise, I'm not putting them ahead of some of these guys who have been waiting around.
This just reminds me a little bit of the Noah Lyles conversation we're having. If you win the 100-meter dash by 0.005 of a second, can you claim to be the fastest man on the planet? Just like Eli Manning, the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, didn't win a playoff game outside of those 2 runs with the Giants. Like, you were not one of the great quarterbacks of your generation. Nobody thinks you are.
It is one of the more fascinating Hall of Fame debates I can think of, because you can't just erase 2 Super Bowl wins and MVPs, but if you do, he's Cooper Manning. Like if you
no wins.
Like
that's wild, Bogey.
Right? I mean, like
Cooper?
in the Olympics, right? Like in gymnastics, I think in diving too, they take off the top and the bottom scores and they count like the middle portion to like for balance sake and to take away from like outlier judges. If you take away Eli's outliers, he's just a quarterback. And he would have been like eviscerated here in New York for all of these missed opportunities.
He would have been just a quarterback, but he would have been just a quarterback that did what he did. Cooper Manning is a guy that is so I'm not even going to go there, but
no, but that's the
he
thing.
Can't
it's
even
like,
hold it down on TV, bro.
Oh, Zoo. He's definitely not joining your sailing team now. So kiss that goodbye. No,
It's okay. We already have Captain Bogey.
You have the 2 amazing Super Bowl runs, but you stack it up against the rest of Eli's career. He literally retired with a 500 record, like the definition of just so, and never won another playoff game outside of it. It's a fascinating career, and I think that his last name will definitely help him.
Yes,
and he will get in, but first ballot, no. As Dion would say, can't be in the inner circle. This is not upstairs in the back room with like a fake door that you walk through.
He doesn't know the password.
Here's all the real inner circle guys. Okay, 855-212-4227. Coming up, crazy story when it happened, getting crazier now. We have an update on a college football scandal that you may have thought was done. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Captain Big Zoo at the helm with a flare, a joint in his hand, salt breeze in his hair. With first mate Andrew Bogusch rolling greens by his side, they navigate not for gold, but for a chill smoky ride. Oh, puff, puff, row, Big Zoo keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the smoky sky. Big Zoo's laughter echoes over ocean waves so fast. Stay chill, steer easy, his motto from the past. Which way's the race, he chuckles, cloud of smoke in the air. Bogusch with a smirk, who cares when you're floating on air? Oh, puff, puff, row, Big Zoo keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the smoky sky. Big Zoo's boat might wobble, but their spirits never dip. With every puff and giggle, they're on a fantastic trip. Olympics or not, they've won their own game. With a stash of good vibes, they enjoy their fame. Around them competition, but they're just in bliss. Big Zoo and Bogusch, nothing amiss. Through foggy spectacles, they see a different goal. In their Olympics of cool, they're on a roll. Oh, puff, puff, row, Big Zoo keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the smoky sky. So here's to Big Zoo and his trusting mate Bogusch, in a league of their own, without any rush. The trophy is laughter, their medal pure joy. In the high seas Olympics, they're the real McCoy. fame. A random competition, but they're just in bliss. Thanks to a baboosh, nothing amiss. Through funky spectacles, they see a different goal. In the Olympics of cool, they're on a roll. Game with a stash of good vibes, they enjoy their fame.
Sports Network.
A pattern of non-compliance within the football program. Not what you want to hear. Hey, good morning. It's Maggie Gray. Andrew Bogusch is in for Andrew Perloff this week, and I'm talking about Michigan, Bogues, the Michigan Wolverines. You remember that old Connor Stallion sign stealing scandal?
I recall it vaguely.
Vaguely?
Yeah.
Well, it led us to create an open that I never thought we would ever use again, but alas.
I got a one-track mind. I'm not going to be speculating. Can let others speculate that.
It's time for Maze and Clue.
This is when we try to do something silly to figure out who was this Connor Stallions, a guy literally wearing a disguise, allegedly, on the sideline of games so that he could videotape the opponent, or in some cases the home team, doesn't matter, their signs, their signals. It's illegal to do that. You can steal them off the TV, but you can't do it in person. That would be just too much of an advantage. So
the picture by him in Central Michigan gear over Jim McElwain's shoulder should be in a museum somewhere.
Connor Stallions was employed by Michigan at the time. It looks like that was actually him on the sidelines of the Chippewas, Central Michigan, wearing glasses that were recording devices.
He looks like Manny.
yeah. Manny's doing updates for us. So, okay, let's back it up here. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh got in trouble last year, and you remember Harbaugh was not even coaching during the big game against Ohio State because he was suspended for the last 3 games of the season by the Big Ten because of his role in this sign-stealing scandal. It was widespread. Lots of coaches got caught up in it. Now, here's the update. There was a draft of a letter that the NCAA is about to send to Michigan any day now that got leaked to ESPN. So in the draft of the letter, which could change because it's just a draft, but this is what the NCAA wanted to get out. Sherone Moore, the new head coach of Michigan, could be in line for level 2 sanctions. Now, level 1's the worst, so level 2 is second worst. And other members of the coaching staff could be in trouble. Now, a lot of guys have left with Jim Harbaugh. They saw the writing on the wall, and they got the hell out of Dodge. Now, Sherone Moore's here to clean up the mess. According to this draft, there were 52 text messages that Sherone Moore deleted between himself and Connor Stallions on the day that the sign-stealing scandal broke in the news.
What a coincidence. Just cleaning out my phone.
I know.
Out of the clutter.
Yeah. I just picked today of all days to delete 52 text messages.
Spring cleaning.
Now, there's a lot of different tentacles here. There's an upcoming Netflix documentary that Connor Stallions, who we haven't heard from, got dismissed by Michigan, the sign stealer, if you will. He's sitting down for this Netflix documentary where, according to the NCAA in this draft, he was not cooperative with their investigation. But lo and behold, now Netflix has got a camera crew, and maybe he's singing like a canary now.
Doesn't it seem too short of a time to have a documentary? Like, that's just an interview. Like, a doc requires like a couple of years, I feel like, in between the incident and then you airing a documentary. Like, you need time to compile evidence and interviews and footage and put it all together. And we're like 7 days later, and here it's like an expose.
This is
not
like
a documentary.
We're in a fast-paced, what have you done for me lately kind of society. You can definitely have a documentary 4 months after the actual scandal.
I disagree. Different word.
Anyway, so the big question here, besides like the getting you up to speed, if you care, on the TikTok of everything that happened here, I should also mention Sherone Moore would be, quote unquote, a repeat offender because there was also allegations that Michigan was breaking recruiting laws during the pandemic. Jim Harbaugh was suspended 3 games in the beginning of the season for that violation. So, you know, it all may seem silly and it all may seem small, and you're right, you might be right about that, but when you pile it up on top of each other, now you create a little bit of a case here for the NCAA, and it looks like they're hell-bent on pursuing this, that Michigan could be in real trouble. Now, the question is, do we see this translate onto the football field? Bogusch, I'll let you have first crack.
So the short answer is no. I mean, they won everything without Jim Harbaugh to close last season. Like, unless they get shut down or some like a monumental, never before seen punishment for coaches and scholarship loss or whatever, like they're just gonna be fine. I'm bothered by it in general. I don't like smugness. I know everybody's cheating or bending the rules, living in gray areas, but like at some point, like the jig is up. Like you get caught, turn your cell phone over, don't delete things. Like if you want to have like a lawyer or somebody there sitting next to you, that's fine. But don't turn down interviews and not cooperate. Like when you're caught, you're caught. And like them acting like this is nothing. And all of these things have been nothing. This is over cheeseburgers. Well, it was a little worse than cheeseburgers for recruits. Like you still were breaking rules and then you didn't do anything to help or to at least be part of the NCAA investigation. Like you should get in trouble for that. But it's not going to matter because kids are still going to go there. And if they lose scholarships, it's the crappier kids. It's the bottom of the scholarship totem pole that loses the scholarships. So they'll still be fun. And people probably think they're cool for being all renegade and breaking rules and whatever.
Well, I know there was a little bit of that last year with the Connor Stallions thing because it was just the details were so ridiculous. Like, was he wearing a fake beard and mustache? I mean, how silly was this? But
he doesn't work here. Yes, he does.
Here's the thing about these allegations and about the potential sanctions. Okay, maybe it's not that quote unquote big of a deal, but you are asking Sherone Moore, the new head coach of Michigan, to do something that feels almost close to impossible. And that is you are going to take over for a team that just won a national title and you're expected to what? Just keep this train on the tracks? It was going to be hard enough to keep this thing moving in the right direction in the first place without this kind of stuff hanging over Michigan. We remember back to after Lloyd Carr stepped down and stopped coaching the Michigan Wolverines. That was 7 lean years with Brady Hoke and Rich Rodriguez, where they went 46-44 overall. That is not outstanding. Had 1 double-digit win season and had 3 winning seasons overall, and those were just barely. And did Michigan rebound? Yeah, after 7 years of Jim Harbaugh, okay, they finally break through and they win a national championship for the first time since the late 90s. But you were already asking this new head coach to do something that is so hard, and now you're just upping the degree of difficulty on it in any way. Like that to me is where this matters.
I guess, but I think what matters more is whether or not Sherone Moore is just the right guy to be the head coach replacing Jim Harbaugh. Like they struggled post Lloyd Carr because they made wrong decisions on who should run the program. If he's a good head coach and just because by the nature of his abilities can keep it rolling, then they're going to be fine, even if he has to miss a couple of games as a repeat offender, or they've got to, have fewer visits or less text messages to recruits. Like they'll figure it out. What will cost them is if he's just not a good head coach, and we have no idea about that yet.
That's true. And I wonder, like, Jim Harbaugh had some rough years in Michigan. I remember there were alums, Amani Toomer, others who were saying he's got to go. And I mean, the fact that Jim Harbaugh, who was openly flirting with the NFL for years trying to get out of Michigan. Whether it was for contract extensions or not, he was openly flirting with the NFL for years. The fact is that he pulled an all-time rabbit out of you-know-where, a place deeper than the hat. Like how, and he was good at retaining some really, really, talented players. They were one of the most experienced teams in the entire college football last year. And just the fact of the matter is that's going away. They believe they were the 7th ranked, like 7th most experienced in terms of upperclassmen. 7th most experienced team last year. That falls to 117 this year because of all the talent that they have lost. And here's one step further. I'll go with Sherone Moore. Sherone Moore is an offensive coordinator, came up on the offensive side of the ball. When they played Penn State, he called 32 straight pass plays. I just ask you, if you are 32 straight run plays. 32 straight run plays against Penn State. Now, granted, it worked. They won.
Yeah.
If you are a quarterback who's coming out of high school or transfer portal or whatever, and you're trying to get to the NFL, without Jim Harbaugh there to basically throw his stamp of approval of, no, J.J. McCarthy really is awesome, even though we called 32 straight run plays in the middle of a game, I wonder if what type, are you getting that highest level quarterback? Would I rather go play for Lincoln Riley, or would I rather go to Michigan now, where I still think it's going to be more of the ground and pound game?
Sure, this is not air raid ever, right? I mean, this is never going to be a guy throwing for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns at Michigan. That's never going to happen. But I know I always took the Penn State running whatever, however you want to describe it, as like a middle finger to Penn State. It wasn't like and I was a big, they don't trust J.J. McCarthy to throw the football, but it wasn't in that sequence. That was just like, they can't stop us. Ha ha, we're going to keep running.
Right.
And like that kind of ballsiness probably does play well with recruits. I don't know that specific thing will keep quarterbacks away, but like right now, I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know if they know who their quarterback is inching towards a new season. Like that's another big issue for them.
Probably Alex Orgy, but who knows?
Right. Not just, more. That's a bigger concern to me than whatever this NCAA looming punishment's going to be for all this Harbaugh Stallion silliness.
Right. So that's the update. We've got a draft of allegations that got leaked to the press over the weekend. Just in time to get ahead of this Netflix documentary that's going to be coming out at the end of the month. But anyway, that's my journalism raised eyebrow on everything. And this is basically saying that, there was a pattern of noncompliance for Michigan with the Connor Stallion scandal. That was a guy who they claim went rogue,
right,
and was just filming the sidelines and trying to steal signs in person because of for the good of the program. Meanwhile, he's got text messages to every single person on the staff, basically. And they were asking players to maybe lie about it to the NCAA and asking them to kind of be go-betweens. I don't love that. I don't love putting pressure on a kid to lie.
Although I guess this draft does not directly connect Harbaugh to Stallions. So when we get to the Netflix doc, that's the thing that we need to hear is whether Harbaugh will. It's impossible.
That's because Harbaugh didn't cooperate with the investigation.
Right.
Yeah,
it's impossible to believe or for it to be reality that Jim Harbaugh didn't know what was going on. He might not have orchestrated it. He might not have had a hand in planning it. He might not have decided where Connor Stallions was going to go to do the sign stealing. But Jim Harbaugh's not an idiot. At some point, there would have been information in front of him where he would have gone, "How did we get this, guys?" Or "Where's Connor today?" So so he certainly is guilty of something in all of this. We still don't know. Not that it's going to change his employment in the NFL now, but we don't know exactly how bad this all was. We're going to get at least half the story from Stallions on Netflix soon. We're not going to get it from this NCAA investigation, apparently.
It could take weeks. It could take months. This could be something that also hangs over the season again. Now, to your point earlier, Michigan showed that they can win and win big even when they have this stuff swirling around. But is there just a little bit different energy when it's not Jim Harbaugh there? Again, you're already asking Sherone Moore to step into an impossible situation. Kalen DeBoer, you're asking these guys, at least Alabama's not literally coming off a national championship. Close, lost to Michigan in the semifinal, and it was a very close game, overtime game. But asking, how many coaches come in for future Hall of Fame or current Hall of Fame coaches and just hey, it's passing the baton. No, we never skipped a beat. And I don't think that's going to happen for Michigan, and I think history would tell you that. And this just adds another degree of difficulty for Sherone Moore. Now, you could say, Maggie, listen, it's the era of NIL, money talks. Whoever pays the most will get the players. Well, a lot of great programs have a lot of money. And again, if I'm an offensive player now and I'm in the Big Ten and I'm looking at Oregon and I'm looking at USC and I'm looking at these other programs.
If I'm in the Big Ten, I'm looking at Oregon because that makes sense.
Well, that's the world we live in now. EJ, you wanted to weigh in on this.
I think the recruiting part is an interesting point because Jim Harbaugh was a really good recruiter at Michigan, and even he wasn't bringing in top 2 or 3 classes. You're talking about 15th in 2024, 17th in 2023, 9th in 2022, that was his best class in the last few years, and 13th in 2021. And Jim Harbaugh was able to take those kind of players and make them into a championship caliber powerhouse. I have a lot of questions about whether or not Sherone Moore, who will probably see recruiting dip a little bit in the post-Jim Harbaugh era, will they take similar players or even worse players and make them compete against the likes of a Georgia, Alabama, those top programs. I think Michigan's actually going to be set up for a big fall here because, as Maggie said, the non-Harbaugh years has been really lean in the new millennium. And even some of the Harbaugh years were lean. I mean, it was not like smooth sailing his entire time at Michigan. He had trouble beating Ohio State initially. He had a losing season in there during the COVID year, a couple of 8 and 9 win seasons. So I think Michigan's in for a kind of a little bit maybe of a rough patch here, because going to Michigan doesn't just automatically send you to championship contention. We've seen that now for about 25, 30 years. It is not as easy a job as maybe it once was, at least maybe how Bo Schembechler made it look way back in the day.
I mean, why do you think they needed Connor Stallions on the sideline to begin with? Again, if it wasn't working, I don't think they would have kept sending him there. 855-212-4227. So that's the latest. Our question to you is about Michigan. Are you expecting them? Listen, they still have talent. You still have the Donovan Edwards. You still have names you recognize from last year's team, but they lost a lot of their offensive line, 3 of their top receivers, obviously their quarterback, and then even more on the defensive side.
Can I give you, before we break, one nerdy Big Ten note that maybe you guys saw over the weekend, because this tweet was bouncing around a lot? So only on August 1st did Oregon and all the Pac-12 schools officially become Big Ten members. So we're on 18 schools now. What's the first school alphabetically in the Big Ten?
EJ thinks he has it. Wait,
I saw the tweet. So
you saw the tweet. I did not see the tweet. Alphabetically?
Yeah.
Do we have anything before any of the I's?
That
Iowa, Indiana?
Illinois is the first there's 18 schools in this big stupid league, and the first one alphabetically is not until Illinois.
Interesting. Who cares?
Me.
Sorry.
I care.
You're the newsman.
Yeah.
And the wordsmith. I just think it's hilarious. They put out another video of all across the country of like where the Big Ten campuses are, and it's like Game of Thrones the opening. Did you guys create some like mythical world where every place under the sun? It's like, did I see a castle in there somewhere? Some kind of knights jousting? They like pop up out of the map, and it's literally coast to coast.
What terrible downtrodden land in Game of Thrones would Rutgers be? Because I'll never not be angry of Rutgers being in that conference.
This is a little insides, definitely not Dorne. Sorry, it's a little nerdy Game of Thrones. 855-212-4227. All right, you're welcome to weigh in on Michigan. What do you foresee for the Wolverines here in the post-Jim Harbaugh era? I know there's a lot of people who think he's going to be really good with the Chargers. I'm one of them. But what about who he's leaving behind? And man, I don't know if he's ever going back to college, because he might get hit with some of the worst stuff you can get hit with in college. Not the worst, but pretty close. Show cause penalties and stuff like that. Hard to come back from those. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including we think we may have found the next Rob Gronkowski. And here's something. It's not a tight end. I'll tell you who it is next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff here on Infinity Sports Network. Andrew Perloff on vacation, so Andrew Bogish good enough to slide over and take over for Pearl. I think we have a new Gronk, and I'm delighted by this. I'm ecstatic, quite frankly, because I think we've kind of been missing it. And when I say a new Gronk, I don't mean like a great tight end. I mean like sort of like a
doofus?
Well, not a doofus, a little bit more of a... No, Gronk's not a loser. Well, maybe. But no, it's more of a happy-go-lucky jock.
Shucks.
Just sort of, I don't want to say meathead. I feel like that's maybe a little condescending. But just somebody who's a little unapologetically themselves and can do it in a fun and entertaining way.
Meathead is complimentary for him.
For Gronk? He's like, thank you. I am a meathead. And it could be Keon Coleman. Do we have the Keon Coleman? We look for it. Keon Coleman of my Buffalo Bills. That is
your bill gets picked for something fun. Would've seen that coming.
It's actually Josh Allen talking about Keon Coleman. So let me, before anyone freaks out on the other side of the glass, Josh Allen talking about Keon Coleman. Yeah, am I being a homer with this pick? Here's Josh Allen talking about how Keon Coleman, just very different than most teammates. We'll take you through the sound.
He's just not normal. And I mean that in the best way. He does things his way, and he's always him. He's very authentic.
Okay, so what could Josh Allen be talking about? Well, he invited Keon Coleman over for dinner one night.
You know, I had him over. I had a Scheffler in the OTAs, and, she made fish. And he's like, what the heck is this? I'm not eating this. And he didn't eat it, but he does things his way.
And here's more of what he sees from Coleman in practice.
I love the guy. He's making things personal, going out there and blocking hard and doing things the right way, and he's making plays in camp. And again, we're building that chemistry on the field right now, and I think that off the field we've got a very good thing going too, and just a lot of trust in those guys right now.
Okay, you can almost see this because we have a little bit on Keon Coleman, what it was like when Josh Allen invites him over, fancy dinner, private chef, they're making fish, and he goes, I'm not eating it, and just doesn't eat it.
Do we have to have a manners conversation? Maybe Josh Allen told a story in a non-flattering way, but and I'm not a seafood guy, so I would, if I went to Josh Allen's house and he served flounder, I'd be bummed. But I'd be an adult about it and
I'd eat it anyway?
And we're move around my plate a little bit. I wouldn't go knock the plate away and go, what's this?
He would go, ew.
Yeah, ew, yuck. Fish is gross, man.
See, this is why I like Keon Coleman. I think that it's the guy who just himself, and it means no harm by it. I hope the chef wasn't, offended, but means no harm by it. Now, the problem is that Gronk really there was a very fine line sometimes with Gronk, right? Because the party boy sort of persona, the fact that he was so successful on the field made us all kind of look the other way when he's slamming Bud Lights and crushing the can on his head, and he's got the Gronk cruise. God knows how much VD was going on in that hot tub. I'm just saying.
Requirement.
We should say requirement.
If you don't have two, you're not doing it right at the end of the day.
I'm just saying, we gave Gronk a bit of a pass because of all the winning, and I also think that being in New England really insulated him a little bit as well, because when he's in the locker room and he's doing an interview in front of his locker, he's never saying anything. This was all him posing with a porn star who's wearing his jersey. That got Manny's attention. We kind of laughed it off just Gronk being Gronk. I think about Keon Coleman. I think he's got a little Gronkowski in him, fun-loving guy. I'm not saying he's going to be with porn stars. I'm just saying fun-loving guy, unapologetically himself, endearing. It's non-threatening. You like what he's got to offer. You can't imagine what's going to come out of his mouth next. The problem is if you don't win, I don't think it's that cute. And so I don't know what the Bills are going to be doing. I don't know what this season's going to hold, but there was a boyish charm about Gronkowski that I think Keon Coleman has, but if you don't have the winning to back it up, people just take it the wrong way.
Well, once I'm done with a therapist about equating my high school basketball play-by-play to calling the 100-meter final on NBC, come right in, take a seat.
Really? What did I just reveal there?
Your Bills love. What's the phrase? Your
fandom?
No, you're when you put something on somebody else or put something
I'm projecting?
You're projecting your Bills love onto Keon Coleman, who might be a bad house guest.
Oh, I'm already giving him a pass.
This is great. I mean, it's so funny. He knocked a play off the table because he wouldn't eat fish from the fancy chef at Josh Allen's house. What a great Gronkowski he might be.
He didn't knock the table over. He's not a real housewife.
We don't know that.
I like how he buys his coats off season.
I was gonna say, what else do we have? We have he got free coats, right?
No, he buys his coats at Macy's in the middle of the summer.
But then remember somebody sent him a coat and he did an opening video and it was the same coat in 3 different colors. Yeah. And he was all geeked up about that. He's a sweet dude, but he better be better than Xavier Worthy, right? I mean, that's what this boils down to. And that's what you go to bed wondering every single night. You weren't here when the whole world was on fire because Xavier Worthy caught one deep ball from Patrick Mahomes without pads at Chiefs camp.
No, I freaked
out. I'm sure you saw it, but you weren't here to have sympathy on the air.
Yeah.
And now you're hoping that Keon Coleman, the non-fish eating new Bills wide receiver, can be just as productive off the field. Fingers crossed.
EJ, I like your take on this. The Bills need somebody to sort of lighten the mood a little bit, and I agree with you, but flush it out.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of terrible things that happened in Buffalo, right? You had those terrible storms, you had terrible shooting, and then, of course, you had DeMar Hamlin. So some of the serious nature around the Bills is not anything that's their fault. But there has been, it felt like, a weight of the world on their shoulders.
They're tight.
Every season, coming into a season, and they don't have a lot of fun characters. I mean, Josh Allen, great player. He's not really a fun guy. Stephon Diggs certainly wasn't a fun guy when he was there. I kind of think this is the exact kind of guy they need. Somebody who's so innocent, so just happy to be there, so authentically themselves, not afraid to walk on eggshell, not afraid to offend Bogus by not eating fish. Like, this is the exact kind of guy Buffalo needs. Now, can he play? Look, the guy's 6'4" to 40 inch vertical. I mean, I think he probably has a chance to be decent. That's going to be decided on the field. But I think Buffalo needed a reset in the locker room. And dare I say, maybe a rookie can help with that. I feel like he might be able to do something there.
You're right. The Bills are super tight all the time, and they take the lead of their head coach. And their head coach is tight. Sean McDermott is never cracked a smile or barely does, and he coaches tight too. And you see that also. When you were just saying that, EJ, I was reminded of the story from the NBA playoffs. And this is about your beloved New York Knicks, where they're in the locker room and is before game 5, maybe against the 76ers. And they're in the locker room and everyone's feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders. And all of a sudden, someone let out a gigantic fart. And then looks and goes, oh man, the pipe's in here. Someone should fix the pipes. And it just, everyone broke out in laughter and it sort of calmed everybody down. Keon Coleman needs to be that guy farting before a playoff game. You can quote me on that.
Alec Burks. I never thought we'd see a Keon Coleman, Alec Burks comment, but this is what we have on the Maggie and Perloff show.
Yeah, is that going to be our clip for today?
Meanwhile, you needed to be like freaking CSI to figure out who farted. It's like, guys, it's a bunch of dudes. Like, they're not. This is not outing something all that bad. Wouldn't he just raise his hand and be like, it was me? It means nothing to you guys.
Infinity Sports Radio's Maggie Gray begs Keon Coleman to fart before important Bills games.
The louder, the better.
What's more rude, farting in a locker room or not eating fish delivered to you by a chef from Josh Allen?
A locker room is not a dinner table with an accomplished chef putting a nice prepared piece of fish in front of you. You can fart in a locker room. You can't turn your nose up at fish. Gifted fish? You gotta be nice about it.
Gifted fish. Sounds like a weird cover band.
What am I supposed to do with these fish? I'm in a locker room.
You're at a table in suburban Buffalo. You pretend to eat the fish that Josh Allen's personal chef made for you.
Exactly. Also, considering...
Honestly, that might have been why he didn't want to eat the fish. He was in Buffalo, right? I mean, he's from Florida, I believe, where fish is
where
awesome.
This come from?
Yeah,
I think he might have been like...
caught in Lake Ontario. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's tilapia, bro.
I was going to say, the biggest, the two greatest food items that come from that part of the world, and I know this because I'm from near there, are buffalo wings, still the GOAT food, but again, this is not like fine dining. And 2 are Rochester's garbage plates. So when you said a world-renowned chef, are we sure about that? Or we said a chef?
I don't know if they're going to serve that at Del Frisco's.
A professional chef.
What about beef on weck?
Yeah, beef on weck is also, I would not call that the height of cuisine, though.
Well, beef on weck with some Loganberry, delicious.
I don't think Giada De Laurentiis was flown into Buffalo to make branzino for this party, but it was somebody not from Applebee's dropping something on some fish on the table.
Oh, it was a professional chef from the cheesecake.
Oh, I would have loved it. Make me everything on the menu. One of everything.
He'll be here for about 7 years, but
I want the pizza flatbread, and I want the salmon teriyaki, and I want the shrimp scampi.
Oh, yeah. Give me everything on page 72. Well done. Thank you.
The menu goes on forever. No wonder Andy Reid modeled his playbook after it. We'll get to the Chiefs in a little bit. Manny Rodriguez, or should I say President Manny, is here with his fine haircut doing updates for us this morning. What's up,
I like the Coca-Cola shirt, too.
Oh, wait, there's a stain on it.
There we go.
Don't ruin it. Don't pierce the theater of the mind that we've given our radio audience. That
he's
Manny,
a man of the people.
My theater of the mind is that he's in an 80s rom-com. That he's like the sidekick in an 80s rom-com.
I could see that, too. I think, Manny, you look like a Fulbright scholar today. I mean, you are just... It's like academia is what you look like to me.
I need some Tide to go.
The stain on your shirt's kind of ruining it.
Damn. This is what you get for getting ready in the dark. Damn.
Do you not have lights?
Listen, man.
At least light a candle, bro.
Manny, by candlelight? What is he, Abraham Lincoln?
Everything by candlelight is better.
That's right.
Lighting is the key to life.
That's
Fair,
how I
Zoo.
live.
Speaking you live by candlelight.
I just walk around my house.
Yeah. He's a big ambiance guy.
Use fireside chats.
Yeah, but he's a Scrooge walking down the stairs with a candle.
Are you like lighting a torch along the way in the hallway?
With Snoop Dogg.
I have the ambiance of like a late 1600s.
Count Zoo.
One.
That count.
Welcome to my chambers.
The ladies must love that. Showing up to your
I get it.
apartment.
I think there'd be some ladies into that.
Oh, sorry. Give me one
Straight
second.
from the Renaissance
You'll
fair.
find one of us into everything.
The ladies love the candles, Bogey.
What we do for guys. I saw this yesterday online, of course, and it was a wedding. Did you guys see the Star Wars themed wedding where instead of
Not
a
a
first
chance.
dance, they did a sword fight with the lightsabers, and I was like, what women do for men?
What if it was her call?
Yeah.
I will be shocked.
No chance. Zero chance that's the case.
Shocked. Like, would you rather have a first dance or do you want to have a choreographed lightsaber battle?
Can we fight lightsabers instead of a first dance?
Listen, I'm sure nobody who was invited to that wedding was shocked. They probably know that they're big Star Wars people, and that's fine. I'm not here to yuck somebody else's yums. I'm just telling you that wasn't her idea.
I don't know. That's pretty jarring. If I show up to a wedding and they just start fighting with lightsabers, I mean, even if I know them pretty good.
It's Bill and Melissa. You know how they are.
Like, I went to Fliegelman's wedding. Fliegelman is a guy, is an associate of us. He's a big Marvel guy. He's into a lot of like nerdy stuff. If I would have pulled up there and he would have came out for his first dance dressed as like Captain America, and his wife would have came out as Iron Man, like it would have been tough. It would have been tough to
Tough to get it back after that.
I would have had to go to the bar for a little while.
It's like, have I had too many martinis at the cocktail hour? Or does Fleegs look like he's Black Panther?
Zoo's not eating the fish at that wedding.
They flew it in from what's one of the planets in Star Wars?
Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine.
Everyone knows Tatooine.
They freeze dried it. Sorry, Manny, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so why don't we go back to Paris? Because French pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati, he went viral, but not
When
because
this happens.
Not because he medaled, Bogus.
Yeah.
He actually finished 12th in qualification, well out of contention for the final.
12.
But he went viral for the manner that he failed. Ammirati seemed to have cleared his attempt of 5.7 meters or 18.7 feet. But as he is falling back down to earth, his manhood glances the bar, dislodging it and sending the first-time Olympian home.
Brilliantly delivered. 12th place in the standings, first place in our heart. Penis. Or just mine.
Our heart.
I'll speak for myself.
This is the Olympics of the bulge. You had a diver who looked like he had his like tag team partner in the front of his suit. And now this guy loses because his junk gets caught on the bar.
This is the win you lose but win.
This is the humblest of humble brags. It's like, I was in the Olympics. I finished 12th because.
The tough one is how do you describe it to the grandkids? That's the hard one.
It doesn't matter at that point.
Grandpa competed in the Olympics. And by the way, there's 40 of us. Grandpa competed in the Olympics. What happened? How come he didn't win? It's like, well.
My favorite part is when the broadcasters are, I don't understand. How did the bar fall? And then like 5 seconds later, you hear another voice say, check out the midsection. Look at the midsection. That's where the bar.
Well, kids, Grampy had himself
Yeah.
And if you would like, I could show you guys.
He was elite in every way. I think this is the one part of it where I have no sympathy for the guy, which is he's lived his whole life with this thing. Right? You got to know what kind of square footage you're taking up here. And as an athlete, you've got to act accordingly.
I want to dive deeper into this because you know what? Was this guy a favorite? Because if he wasn't a favorite, then I think this was a stunt. Because he, like you said, Maggie, he knows this. He's cleared that hype before.
Phoenix.
He made the group chat, if you're wondering about my group of friends from high school.
Exactly.
Before or after I sent you the link to the...
I let them know.
Okay.
They let me know about the diver. I let them know about the pole vaulter.
It was back and forth. It's a payment process. You do it. You take and you give.
Well, it's my friends from high school, and apparently our senses of humor also never graduated. This guy's going to be all right.
Josh, watch.
I'm watching it again now. It's amazing the bar survived. And when there's contact, it like unfurls. Like
Unfurls.
What a verb.
Like, this is remarkable.
There's a reverberation.
And this is what I didn't think of this, but Maggie's right. You got to plan better. You got to have some kind of harness.
That's why I'm
this
telling
is not
you.
possible.
This guy did this on purpose because he wants one thing and one thing only, and that was popularity.
Well, he got it.
Now he's popular.
I'd go stand on the roof if that was me.
That'll get you arrested. This will get you everything your heart desires.
Instead of a rooster, you could have Pilates standing on the roof.
Isn't he from Italy? Good
France.
morning.
France.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good morning, France. Bonjour.
Morning, my neighbors.
Right on the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, boy. That's what they call it. Sorry.
Do you need to carry the video, though, in your phone at all times to prove
No.
this is you?
Google me.
You can just drop your pants anytime.
No, don't do that. That is when it will turn on you.
Yeah, my girth is rather large.
That was not from this show. Who ever said that?
It's a Peter Schwartz.
That sounded like Peter Schwartz. Which is
Good
the
grief.
last thing we need to think about right now.
Well, congrats to this guy. Whatever his name is, don't need it.
It doesn't matter. Pole vaulter.
We've got the pertinent information.
Manny, back to you.
You know what? I think that's all we got time for.
Okay.
Manny, thank you. Well delivered. We were wondering how you're going to present that story.
With grace.
And grace like a prime minister would.
Or like Anthony Ammirati. That's the name of the guy.
A little less graceful on his end. Okay,
Hallelujah.
Coming up, I did something over the weekend that I haven't done in a while. Let's go to training camp.
Oh.
My observations from training camp. Where was I? I'll let you know next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Being observed by me at Jets training camp. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray. Andrew Bogusch in for Andrew Perloff. Yes, Bogusch, I finally got off my butt and went to training camp, Jets training camp on Saturday morning.
I wasn't asking you to, but thank you. Did you do any 3-cone drills, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I want to show them a little something, especially on that offensive line. They're going to need a little help. All right, so I'm going to give you my observation from Jets training camp. In true Maggie fashion, I showed up on the one and only day where it was 100 degrees.
Without knowing it was going to be that hot, right?
No clue. Okay. Everyone just sweating profusely, no shade. But anyway, this isn't about me. Okay, here's some of my observations about Jets training camp. And they're kind of a little, I guess, more on the serious side. Aaron Rodgers, I've never really got to see him this close up before. He's got this thing that he does with his body language where you can tell he's ticked off without him having to be like overly exuberant about it. It's very interesting. I think the greats have a little bit of this. The center for the Jets kept snapping the ball like way high, way over his head. They had some drives stall. They were doing a scrimmage, a green and white scrimmage, and they had some drives stall off of some mistakes. And he was definitely upset, and you could tell coming to the sideline, but he had a good way of sort of not being over demonstrative about it. He wasn't huffing and puffing all up on the sidelines and undressing guys, but you could tell he was clearly agitated and sort of could get the message across without having to get in guys' faces.
It sounds almost parental. Like I've got a little stance that I can give my kid if they're like walking towards me and they've done something bad, like they know that they're about to be spoken to.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's what it sounds like you're describing, that he's like letting, I think it's Joe Tipman know he's been a bad boy and he's not going to get his allowance this week.
Yeah, they definitely talked a little bit, but this is still a problem. And whether it's mechanical or whether it's mental, you don't want a guy coming off an Achilles who's 40 years old to be unnecessarily jumping high into the air, one, and two, have his back turned to the play where he has to chase down a ball, and that did happen in the live part that we were able to witness. Number two, Breece Hall. As big in the pass game as the run game, that's not in debate. Last year, 95 targets for 76 receptions. I think that's going to even go up this year. The amount that Rodgers, and granted, Mike Williams isn't practicing. Who knows if they're ever going to actually get Devontae Adams. But Breece Hall in the pass game, Christian McCaffrey-esque, actually had more receptions than McCaffrey last year. And so that's something I would look for. Rodgers obviously has this amazing arm. He's so skilled. He can find Garrett Wilson. He can put it and drop 50 yards on a rope. We all know he can do that. But Breece Hall in the passing game, the running back, in the passing game, I think is going to be huge for the Jets.
Other than Aaron Rodgers, I think he's their most important offensive player. I love that dude. If he is as dynamic as we think he can be, they're going to be really hard to stop. Coupled with that defense, that's why I think they can win that division.
More of my observations from Jets training camp, which I went to on Saturday. Nathaniel Hackett, I still can't believe he was a head coach. And I know this is going to be a little bit of just me editorializing, but this was me on the sidelines, and these were my takeaways. He just doesn't really have a presence. Robert Saleh, I don't think is like this great head coach, and he's definitely on the hot seat, but he's certainly a presence out on the field. Where he's standing is right over the play. Nathaniel Hackett, how did this guy impress in an interview to get a head coaching job? There was no presence to him on the sideline. And then my other observation, Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback for the Jets, turned 35 on Saturday. So the crowd kept wishing him happy birthday, and it was this big thing. 35 years old for the backup quarterback, who also is injury prone. So if you have Aaron Rodgers, who's 40 coming off an Achilles, his backup is 35. Yes, Tyrod Taylor's a good backup quarterback, but he gets hurt also. Just ask the Giants from last year. And then after that, the depth chart just falls off a cliff. Jordan Travis from Florida State is not ready. He's over on the sideline, just being on the sideline. Andrew Peasley, Adrian Martinez, this is...
From Nebraska?
There's nobody in this depth chart. And so if heaven forbid something happens to Rodgers and then Tyrod Taylor, it was an interesting choice as a backup. He's got a high ceiling, Bogish, but he's also injury prone and older.
Yeah, and they did not keep the Rodgers buddy, Tim Boyle. I think he's in Houston now, maybe. He's somewhere. He's got a job somewhere, but he usually is just hanging out with Aaron. Maybe they're just waiting to see who shakes out during the summer here to add a third guy to. I don't remember if they carried all three guys, because that's a decision teams have to make these days. 2 quarterbacks, 3 quarterbacks active on a Sunday. They did tweak the emergency quarterback rule, right?
Yep.
So my guess is those are not the 3 that they're going to take into the regular season. They're probably just waiting to see who might shake free, add them on, veteran presence, because it'd be surprising if Aaron played all 17 games this year.
Right. I mean, if you get 14 out of them, you're probably happy, and then we'll do week by week on whether
I shouldn't say
they're going to push him.
I shouldn't say it'd be surprising, because I think he's going to be fine coming off the Achilles, and otherwise, he's either been significantly injured or he plays.
Right.
So, assuming, as I will, that he's not going to blow out an ACL, break a collarbone, he's going to play all 17 games. So maybe they don't need a third guy, but I still would want a second guy behind him, not just Tyrod Taylor.
Lastly, they had a taco truck and an ice cream truck set out outside the facility. Aaron Rodgers in line for a taco. That's called journalism. I walked by and said, "Wow, tacos, lucky you." And he laughed. And that was it.
You had an indirect conversation with him?
Well, I couldn't really stop and talk. That would have been definitely a violation of your press pass.
Right.
I believe I would have gotten in quite a bit of trouble for that.
And you were there for us, or you have some kind of side project that you're now
I was
announcing?
Just there to. Yes, I'm now a new Jets cheerleader. No, I think they got rid of those. I live not too far away from their headquarters.
Yeah. Are you going to go to Giants camp for balance sake, or are you going to be pro Jets only here in
I
New
don't
York?
work at the Fan anymore.
Okay.
I don't have to do that. 855-212-4227.
Wait, Connor Stallions. Were you there?
Scouting for my Buffalo Bills?
Yeah.
No. I don't
Dear
know.
Sean McDermott.
Yeah. Watch out for CJ Mosley. That guy.
Their quarterback seems to be good.
Yeah. That guy's going to be something. Yeah, so I went out to training camp. Sweated my face off.
Yours truly, Maggie in New Jersey.
Anyone else there?
Was anyone else there who you know?
No. Anyone else there sweating their butt off too?
Yeah, a lot of people. Ask Adam Schefter about it. No, there was just no shade. For the fans, there's shade. Fans are fine. They're having a great experience, and that's the way it should be.
That's when you got to get those bucket hats, like you're on Jurassic Park.
I was dying. Do you want to see what it looks like when a grown woman just melts? It was bad.
I'll see it in a couple weeks in Disney.
Yes.
What a mistake that is, Pete.
Not when the trip is paid for.
Is it that much cheaper?
If Keon Coleman can say no to fish, you could have said no to Disney in August.
Not being paid for by me, so I'll have 3 of them.
Coming up, speaking of behind enemy lines, a little surprised to see this former head coach show up at Chiefs training camp. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Bogush had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogush boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogush grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst.
Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. Hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead.
To the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst.
Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. So if you see a little league and laughter fills the air, look for Andrew Bogush, you might find him there. With a grin and a wink, he'll raise a drink on high, playing ball with Jack's team under the summer sky.
Andrew Bogush had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogush boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogush grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogus swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Little surprise. Not sure if you were as well. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff this week. I was a little surprised to see former head coach John Gruden, formerly of the Raiders, at Kansas City Chiefs camp, decked out in Chiefs gear head to toe. Now, obviously, John Gruden no longer the head coach of the Raiders, but Raiders, Chiefs, this is an all-time rivalry in the NFL. I know Gruden has a relationship with Andy Reid, Bogish, but this was to me something like, John Gruden, still real bad taste in everyone's mouth from the emails that got leaked, even knowing that that's how he was talking behind the scenes. Just really distasteful. The things that he was saying were just awful. He's in a lawsuit that's still ongoing against the league. But to me, even with John Gruden, who's kind of like a universal bad guy now that we know what was in those emails, and was polarizing even when he was coaching, even with some of the legal stuff that's going on with Rashee Rice and others, I still think that more people love the Chiefs than loathe the Chiefs. And Taylor Swift and add Brittany Mahomes and add all the ancillary things that people criticize the Chiefs about. I think they're the next America's team. They're currently America's team, no longer the Cowboys. And I don't think there's anything you can do to knock them off the perch.
But why do they keep trying to make us want to knock them off the perch? Because whether it's Rashee Rice or Andy Reid's son, or there was Tyreek Hill drama with his kid when he was in Kansas City, and that didn't matter to them either. I guess the one thing I don't know right now is exactly how disliked, if at all, John Gruden actually is in football circles. Right. He's the league's office's enemy at the moment in terms of legal issues. But I don't know that anybody actually doesn't see him sympathetically, and why the Saints had him as a consultant last year, and now he's at least hanging around for a weekend in KC. But at some point, when you couple the winning because we always eventually dislike the winners, as you keep winning, and then you keep throwing in this ammo that maybe you're not the best kind of moral organization, it's going to come back and get you. And I feel like we're kind of at that tipping point now where the Chiefs are about to become the team that they just want to see somebody else win. And the Chiefs keep giving them all this ammo to get thrown back at them, to take shots at them for not necessarily always doing things the correct way.
Listen, you go down the morality road with professional sports, I think you're going to find yourself in one of those corn mazes that you just can't get yourself out of. Because I could look at every single team and I could nitpick this and that. Now, The Chiefs give you a lot of stuff right on the surface. You're right. It's easy to look at them and say, gosh, how are you running your organization? But I think most people would say, they're running the organization like winners, and they've been able to overcome all of these things and still make it about the product on the field. Now, a lot of that, I think, is Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reid, all together with Steve Spagnuolo as their defensive coordinator. They've got this core that seems almost impenetrable. And I think that more people love Mahomes and Kelsey. And are they arrogant? Yeah, but they've also earned it. And I think that we like seeing winners. And even if you're a rival of that team, you've got to respect them. It's like the Patriots when they were in their dynasty. You might have hated Brady and Belichick, but dang, you had to respect them. And they weren't running their organization in a way that was, squeaky clean either, and had some very high profile things, including Aaron Hernandez. So I think you've shown that if there is the winning aspect of it, not that I'm saying that we don't care or shouldn't care, because I think that's way too cynical, but I think more people, if you stopped them on the street and said, do you think that the Kansas City Chiefs are a well-run organization, they would say yes.
And I guess in the weird kind of twisted like paradigm that we look at sports through, like they are.
Right.
Like, which is, I guess, maybe my frustration, because what they do well is avoid the stuff that annoys us. Like Andy Reid doesn't get up there and go, we're on to the Chargers after a bad loss. And Mahomes shows up with a dad bod, the training camp, not walking in, talking about avocado ice cream and sign up for the TB12 method. And here's this, and I'm doing Pilates or whatever. Like, so like they do a good job of avoiding the stuff that normally annoys us, stuff that's not really that important. But then they throw things that should be important, like right in our face.
Yeah.
And most people go, oh, no big deal.
Was there not part of you, we're talking about John Gruden showing up at Kansas City Chiefs training camp, that all of a sudden got, like, scared? To be honest, quite scared. A little scared. I mean, John Gruden as an offensive mind, he's not nobody, you know? It's not like, I know the last few years with the Raiders didn't go very well, but you give John Gruden a weapon like Patrick Mahomes and start asking him like, hey, do you think you can diagram a couple things up for us? That is a little scary to me.
Yeah, and not to read too much into it, but he was in head-to-toe Chiefs gear. Like, he looked like a coach. He wasn't just like there. He wasn't there for a day just sweating on the sideline having a conversation. And I was actually at a basketball practice recently at Fordham, and there was a former coach who was kind of observing and whatever, and he wasn't wearing Fordham sweats. Like, so like John Gruden, almost in uniform, so to speak, made it feel a little more substantial than him just making a tour of training camps. So it certainly led me to believe that he's going to help them in some way. And, you know, we have our own jokes about Matt Nagy and the other guys that have worked under Andy Reid on that offense. But yeah, I mean, you throw him into a meeting room and put a marker in his hand, and he's diagramming things for Pacheco and Kelsey and Mahomes. Yeah, that ain't good.
Yeah, it's like taking advantage of this guy who's sort of this free agent, but for the worst reason, right? I mean, again, the stuff that was in those John Gruden emails was awful. It was racist. It was homophobic. It was nothing that you would really want to bring into your locker room and be like, these are the values that we represent. If I was a player on that team, I don't think I would love it at all. Yet the Chiefs are able to sort of like dodge the raindrops and kind of like always come out kind of clean on the other side. It's about the winning. That's why. Here's another question for you, a little offshoot of that. Take your own team out of it. You know, we saw this with the Warriors, with the Patriots, with teams that start to win a lot. If you had to take your own fandom out of it, do you actually want to see a team three-peat, or do you want to see them fall on their face? Because I also know something about fans in this country, which is we love winners. We love building them up. Yeah, we love tearing them down.
Yeah.
But we love building them up. And to see a team three-peat only makes the legend and the lore of the Kansas City Chiefs grow even bigger.
I think this is the last year where they're going to have near kind of universal acceptance. If they win again, I think that's when the Chiefs' exhaustion kicks in. And God forbid we throw a Kelsey Swift wedding on the end of the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's like a royal wedding, and that's, you know, there's dress changes and tuxedos and who's invited and where is it. That's the beginning of the end.
Well, that won't happen during the season, though.
No, after the Super Bowl, you're like, oh, 3 in a row, that's amazing. And all of a sudden, then we're neck deep in Kelsey Swift wedding details through the offseason. That could be too much to handle.
So I have to commend the Chiefs, right? And I have really amended my thought on this because I do think they are going to three-peat. And the reason why I think that, and it's historic, no one's ever done it. The reason why I think that is, Bogish, what more could you throw at a team last year? I mean, the Taylor Swift stuff was out of control. The Patrick Mahomes and the offense basically having to change. So there were like an X's and O's football aspect of this as well, where Kelsey didn't have this all-time great season, starts the year hurt. Chris Jones starts the year in a holdout. They overcome all of that. They have to go on the road this time to try to make it to the Super Bowl. They do, and they win in overtime. Like, what more can you throw at this team? It was this storybook ending. Like, can you imagine the most famous pop star in the world? They actually won the freaking Super Bowl with her there. Like, no wonder people think the NFL is scripted. But the fact that they've been able to overcome all of this, I don't think there's any outside factor. John Gruden bringing a negative headline because he's at their camp in full Chiefs gear. Rashee Rice is going to have a big suspension. I don't know how long. Big suspension for reckless driving. Anything you could throw, the fame of Swift, anything you throw their way, they've already weathered it.
Yeah, although the Rice suspension, and we still don't, as you said, don't know what it's going to be. That's at least an on-field thing. A lot of things that we've been discussing are not on field.
Well, they did change the offense. That
and Tyreek Hill leaving was a football change for sure.
They've won 2 Super Bowls since.
But I don't like John Gruden. Even if John Gruden gets an unofficial job with them, that's not gonna create a hurdle on the field to overcome. In fact, it's probably gonna create no hurdles because I don't know that anybody's gonna be super worked up about that. Maybe they should, but they probably are not going to be. Andy Reid's son was not a on-field football situation, and even Tyreek Hill, when he was having kind of legal issues like that, got in that area because he could have possibly not been on the field,
right?
Or should they even have him on their roster? But a lot of stuff is just conversation points. It's not, and like Taylor Swift last year, it was a factor, but I don't know that it, on a Sunday, they felt that at all. So, yes, they've overcome a lot. Overcoming Tyreek Hill's exit is the biggest thing they've jumped over in the last 2 years. But now they begin this year, and Justin Herbert is hurt. But even before that, this was maybe one of the easiest divisions in the NFL. They could clinch this bad boy by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
If Herbert misses time or is any way compromised. So now all of a sudden they're kind of on cruise control to that top seed again and having to sit and wait for somebody to come to Arrowhead and beat them.
855-212-4227. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Couple things on the table for you. I still think they're America's team. The Cowboys have relinquished this. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are the new America's team. I think people love them. I think people now love to hate them. They've got the whole mix. They've been successful. All of that. And then the second part, are they going to three-peat? And I think, Bogusch, and that's even a better reason. If Herbert is compromised, that was going to be maybe the one real sticking point.
Right.
And Vegas doesn't really expect the Chargers to do a lot this year. I do. Vegas doesn't. And now Herbert's got plantar fasciitis. So 855-212-4227. EJ, you wanted to get in on this convo.
Yeah, I just feel like the Chiefs, if there's a team that's downfall I'm rooting for the most right now is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll be honest, I look at Andy Reid a lot different today than I have probably over the last few years. When you add putting John Gruden and bringing him to camp, and like Pogus said, not just, he's just there to watch. He's in full Chiefs gear. It looks like he's a part of the staff. Nothing to say about Harrison Butker of any value. He pretty much was like, hey, you guys all suck too, media, so leave Harrison Butker alone. You had that Rashee Rice situation. It just feels like whatever you felt about Andy Reid, the lovable guy that everybody can kind of root for, who likes cheeseburgers and stuff, it just feels like over the last 4 or 5 months, it feels like he's hell-bent on trying to get the worst guys and make them part of this organization and make it part of our normal society that we should just be okay with. And I'm not okay with it. I'll be honest. I thought that this was a disgrace, quite frankly, to bring a person in John Gruden who said racist things about the NFL PA director, who said homophobic things about the NFL commissioner. He insulted literally the top of the league on both sides, both the owner side and the player side. And this is a guy that you're going to bring onto your staff, so to speak, and you're going to kind of ingrace him with the presence of being part of a championship team. That was low. And EJ, I think Andy Reid has a lot to ask for, a lot to be asked about.
Do you think that the players feel that way about John Gruden? I know I'm not asking you to speak for all players, but do you think the players, and particularly the black players, would feel a way about having John Gruden at their training camp?
I guarantee some of those black players absolutely feel a way about John Gruden because of what he said about Damari Smith.
Right.
I can't speak to what he said about Michael Sam. I can't speak to what he said about Roger Goodell. But you attack the head of the players union in a way that was flagrantly racist, and you're allowed to, again, you give him a bump of putting him in the colors of the Super Bowl champions when he hasn't earned that. He did not earn that with the Chiefs. he was a terrible head coach for the Raiders when he was there. So like he got fired or he stepped down, whatever the situation was. He was probably going to be on his way out at some point anyway. Like I'm sorry, like, for Andy Reid, between this and between the whole Harrison Butker thing, this is two very unscrupulous things that makes me very uncomfortable. I think it's going to make a lot of football fans uncomfortable. A lot of people are going to see this and be like, what is with this team? Are they just going to accept anybody? Like, this kind of feels like the old school Raiders of the 70s and 80s, but even these guys weren't as nasty as this.
What's interesting about the Harrison Butker aspect of it, with, kind of saying, oh, women have their place and it's basically in the home, and just being, and said more things than that, but that was kind of like the major headline. It's like you've got that and also Taylor. And like if you're asking what women are going to follow, or if women would be ticked off or offended by anything that Harrison Butker said, they're going to go with, they may be more inclined to be like, well, if Taylor's signing off on it and she's clearly not staying in the home, just to dedicate her life to, raising a family as she's crisscrossing the globe as like the biggest pop star. I wonder if those two, I don't want to say cancel each other out, because I know he said way more than just that about women, but I wonder if that's just sort of like they got Taylor as kind of endorsing the team for women, if that matters.
It could, and I do think that there's going to be another side though, where there are a lot of football fans, a lot of them male fans, who also got very tired of seeing Taylor Swift every week, that talk about Taylor Swift every week. So in some ways, like, I feel like the Chiefs are by far the most hated team in the NFL. I mean, I just feel like they're getting it from all avenues, and then you have Andy Reid seemingly trying to normalize
John Gruden,
the characters of John Gruden and Harrison Butker. I'm like, what are you doing? You guys are Super Bowl champions. You're a dynasty. I don't understand the normalization of these weirdos. I don't get it. And for a team that already has a lot of arrows being slung their way, this just feels like unnecessary. But I'm very curious why Andy Reid feels like this is necessary. And by the way, John Gruden, I think overrated. I mean, we talk about him as an offensive coach. I can't remember any offense pre-2001 that has done anything under John Gruden. I mean, he's won on defense with the Bucs. When he went to Las Vegas the last time, they were a middling offense. Like, a lot of that stuff with him being this great offensive mind, I do feel like there's a lot of marketing. I'm not sure if he actually is a great offensive coach. The numbers don't suggest that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets a boost of,
personality. People liked him on TV. People thought he was entertaining.
Well, and he won a Super Bowl, as like a young coach, with Tony Dungy's players. But he won a Super Bowl.
And on defense.
In Tampa. Well, Keyshawn Johnson was also on the team, but and with defense, right? I think I was surprised that you would welcome back a John Gruden, just because I would think that, first of all, everyone should be offended by it, not just black people, but I would imagine you are sending a message to your players like, hey, I'm okay with what he said in this email and these emails. And obviously no one's going to tell Andy Reid like, hey, I've got a real problem with that. Probably not, because he's got so much power in the organization, but they might feel a certain way.
Yeah, and I don't give Andy Reid the credit to have thought that through. Like, what the why this happens is because he and John Gruden have been friends since the early 90s when they were on the Packers staff together. Like, this is why this happens. And John Gruden hanging out with the Saints last year, so the Chiefs are not even alone in this. We're the first team to do it. He got a paycheck or something from the Saints last year to be an offensive consultant. And I think the crappy lesson here is that the stuff that John Gruden did, and it's not debatable, it's not alleged, like we saw his writing, it unfortunately does not matter enough to enough people. It just doesn't, because there should be someone that goes, this is a non-starter. John Gruden can't come here even for a day, or if he comes, keep him in the office, don't give him a t-shirt. Instead, he's out there in a polo, in a hat, on the field, because, and I don't think it's just like Andy Reid's unchecked power, I don't think people take this seriously enough.
Well, think about the day when the scandal actually broke and he coached. And then it took more emails getting leaked. It was like the first leak didn't do enough. And like, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, we leaked them to the Wall Street Journal. Let's leak them to the New York Times. Maybe more people have that subscription. Like, that's literally what happened. It got leaked and he coached that next week. And then he resigned after more emails came out.
I mean, if he wasn't suing the NFL, he would probably have an actual job in the league now.
I think the funniest thing is people are like, he'll coach in college. I'm like, yeah, that's where we want this. Like, let's take the young, developing minds. Let's put Gruden there. 855-212-4227. Do you have a problem with John Gruden at Chiefs camp? Do you think it reflects badly on the Chiefs? A lot to do. Want to hear from you at 855-212-4227. You can watch the show if you'd like. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Did I just choke? YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. And on X at Maggie Gray. Bogusch and I not wearing the same thing. We have not synced up to the point like Perloff and I generally find ourselves wearing the same thing.
So Perloff and I often have similar things on. Another nod.
You're just dudes, though. That's just
but I mean,
guys in America.
No, but
you can wear like 3 colors.
Fair. And I feel like he has less variation in his clothes than I do. So like I'm the one that like actively gets us in line.
Okay.
But it happens more times than I would expect. So, but should our goal be by Friday? Should I come in with something similar?
Yeah. It's like when we sync up, it's like we're both on the rag at the same time. Sorry, can I say that?
I don't think so. I don't think
it's fine.
I can't see Pete's right hand. I don't know if he hit the button or not. Usually it's a more dramatic slap.
I love that, Bogusch. You think you're like the out of the box dresser around here?
Compared to Perloff, yes.
You guys both wear the same stuff. T-shirts.
I'm wearing like light, like pinkish shorts. He doesn't own pink shorts.
DJ Yolungalele was there.
Perloff wears navy blue and green, basically.
Yeah.
And a Roberto Clemente pullover every once in a while. Like that's
sausage guy.
He's not exactly Matlock wearing the same thing every day, but there's very little variation in that
I'd pay for him
closet.
to dress up as Matlock.
That would be amazing. He'll do it. But like you're acting like you're Joe Burrow and
No. I'm acting just not Perloff.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Police sketch artist. Not that far off.
Okay. Facially, I can't really fix that, but in terms of closets, I think I've got more of the rainbow in my closet than Perloff does.
855-212.
I've been around a lot of naked men in my life.
It's like he's sitting right here.
You don't need me. Send Clean Cut Manny home. I'll go back to updates, and Perloff, you just play the soundboard.
Oof.
Coming up, who stock up and who is stock down after a big weekend? We'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Captain Big Two at the helm with a flare, a joint in his hand, salt brazen his hair. With first mate Andrew Bogusch rolling greens by his side, they navigate the full goal before a chill smoky ride. Oh, pop, 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 Big Two keeps it slow, laughing through the mist. Where do they even go? No medals to win, they got their own hide under the high seas Olympics beneath the smoky sky. Big Sue's laughter echoes over ocean waves so vast. Stay chill, steer easy, his motto from the past. Which way's the race? He chuckles, cloud of smoke in the air. Bogusch with a smirk, who cares when you're floating on air? Oh, pop, 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 Big Two keeps it slow, laughing through the mist. Where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own hide under the high seas Olympics beneath the smoky sky. Boat might wobble, but the spirits never dip. With every puff and giggle, they're on a fantastic trip. Olympics or not, they've won their own game. With a stash of good vibes, they enjoy their fame. Around them competition, but they're just in bliss. Big Sue and Bogusch, where do they even go? No medals to win, they got their own high under the high seas Olympics beneath the smoky sky. So here's to Big Sue and his trusty mate Bogusch in a league of their own. Without any rush, their trophy is laughter, their medal pure joy. In the high seas Olympics, they're the real McCoy.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Well, there's a guy we all know goes by the name CeeDee. He's got a bag of talents more than you can ever show. He can wrap up presents like a pro, nice and tight, with ribbons and bows, making everything just right. Oh, CeeDee, man of many talents, from wrapping gifts to cooking feasts, his skills are quite gallant. Singing songs and making joy wherever he might go. A multi-talented hero, the one and only CeeDee.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M and B 500
on the Infinity Sports Network.
That is high-level production. That's what I'm talking about. We usually call it the M&P 500, whose stock up and whose stock is down after the weekend. But because Andrew Bogish is in for Andrew Perloff, it is now the M&B 500.
And this is why I'm honored to be here. You just called BS on social media.
Yeah, honored.
And I remain honored. You're even making production for me. Blushing.
I believe delighted. I wouldn't believe honored. Let's get to whose stock is up and whose stock is down over the weekend. I'm going to give you somebody whose stock is up. Newfound appreciation for Luke Combs, the country singer, who's a big-time sports fan and obviously fantastic at what he does. He has friends that he's been competing in a fantasy football league for years, apparently. And two of his friends lost their fantasy football league, which means they had to sing on stage.
Last year we decided that whoever lost was going to have to come on stage and sing with me tonight. Now, lucky for me, there was a scoring issue in the last game, and my two best friends in the whole world both lost, and they both have to come out and sing in front of you guys tonight.
It didn't go great. Here are the friends singing. I think it's Walking in Memphis. Who's that, EJ?
Is that a British accent?
Wow. All right, you can take that down.
Please.
Usually, I don't want to ever hear about someone else's fantasy team, but when it's Luke Combs and it's his fantasy football punishment, diabolical. Stock up for him.
Yeah, this is... I can get behind this. Either the punishment or doing some kind of event competition to decide the draft order, which is becoming very popular now too.
She's a lady.
Sign me up for either one.
She's a lady.
If Schwartz ended up somehow in the Luke Combs Fantasy Football League, I wouldn't be all that surprised.
Talking about that little lady, and the lady is mine.
And I keep her in a tower locked away.
Tequila.
Zoo, there aren't enough candles in the world for Schwartz. Zoo's setting the mood with
Just
candles.
the sun.
Yeah. Bogus, who's stock up for you?
All right, I'm the fly. I'm going to go musical stock up here as well. And I'm ready to get made fun of here for all you guys want, but I don't care. Huge stock up. Shout out to Chapel Roan, who's like the hottest thing going right now in music, as Manny rolls his eyes. I don't know if you guys saw Lollapalooza shots from on like Thursday or Friday where they had to move her to the main stage because so many people wanted to see her. It's like 80,000 people singing her songs. That Pink Pony Club song is a banger.
Bogus, you were like day one with her, right?
I wouldn't go that far. That's not fair. I couldn't say that. But this
It's your word against nobody.
This
so
is the
you
first
can do it
time
if you want.
that I've been in tune with cool music in a long time. And I saw a TikTok like, I don't know what crack is in this song, but I can't stop singing it. Same here, man. I don't know what it's about these songs, but they are unbelievably good.
Man.
A little, slightly better than that.
You got a little sad dad in you for this one, and I'm just going to say
you're cool dad.
You're so happy that you finally hit one.
I'm owning
at
this
the
one.
same time as your daughter.
Although
and son.
I've now made her not like it because I like it. So here's the sad dad part. She doesn't think that she can like it because I think it's good music.
Congrats, you ruined it for them.
So you hate it.
I can now. It's on in my house all the time. Now, in my defense, they liked the new song. I think it's called Good Luck Babe. She and my wife were on that song first. But like every third video on my Instagram or TikTok feed now is Chapel Roan related because I keep watching stuff.
You know, Pete, for the uninitiated, maybe for the rest of the show, or can we sneak in a few of her songs on our rejoins just so that we can get everybody up to speed? Well, if we're going to go stock up, we've also got to go stock down. That's the yin and the yang of this thing. And if you're asking me who's stock down, I mean, if you're John Rahm, I know like you've got money and fame and all of that, but when you have a 4-shot lead heading into the final round with an Olympic gold medal on the line, and then your hopes just vanish in 2 holes because of the double bogey, it's just brutal. We've seen collapses, and of course, Scottie Scheffler as the American, so yay, USA. He was able to take advantage, and he shot an unbelievable round yesterday to win the gold. But if you're Rahm, how do you live with yourself?
Well, at least you're not the Chicago White Sox. Stock down for them. They've lost 20 baseball games in a row. That's 1 off the AL record, 3 off the all-time record. I'm going to argue that you can't lose 20 consecutive baseball games by accident. Something's going on there.
You think?
The fix is in. Get them all out.
The fix is in.
This is ridiculous. You should be able to accidentally win a game once every 2.5 weeks.
Well, bats came alive yesterday. They put 7 runs on the board.
And
the
they gave up 13.
The Twins scored 13 runs.
We have a whole lot of controversy on the show today between this. You know, Manny's calling out the White Sox saying they're throwing games again like it's 1918 or 08, whatever it was.
Bogus is there. Bogus.
And bogus, you said it.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
We also have the pole
This is Manny over here.
I know it's candlelit in here, Zoom. Should be able to tell us apart.
Is it too bright? You can't see.
It's too bright in here. No, but the pole
Bogus, can you
vaulters-
get the Manny haircut for tomorrow?
I mean, we're not that
I
far
mean, they're
off.
not far off.
Yeah, it's
true.
the clean shaven part.
No, never clean shaven. That's a very disappointing thing on you, Manny. It's okay.
I'm sorry,
But
Zoom.
the pole vaulter also
okay.
threw his event too yesterday. I'm going to hold on to that one.
I could see with the pole vaulter, you realize you're not going to win. You might as well get famous by knocking the bar over with your junk. I get it.
Wait, there's no way that was on purpose.
It's like,
That
I'm
was
losing
not a-
this anyway.
That was not a targeted attack. No way.
What do you think is going on with the White Sox? I mean, they're terrible. Do we have the Ozzie Guillen? Can we play a little bit of that? This is Ozzie Guillen. So the post-game show, I mean, what are you even supposed to tell the fans here? Like, you can't stand for the team. Ozzie Guillen, as only he can, said he needs a therapist after watching this team.
I mean, Pedro is 100 games on the 500.
Yes.
And he got the job.
He's 100 games under.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's tough. So
I gotta go to psychologist tomorrow. I gotta go to the doctor. No, I do. I have to bring my because few years ago, I was happy, man. Now I'm bitter.
So Ozzie Guillen got passed over. I mean, he won a World Series with the White Sox, but got passed over to become their manager again for Pedro Grifol, who's 100 games under 500 as a manager. Here's Guillen explaining how his life has changed since he got passed over.
I don't think I was the bad manager when they picked Pedro in front of me. I gotta see a psychiatrist. Yeah. So I'm drinking a lot.
You are.
I have problems with my wife a lot. I scream to the only people who get along with me is my grandkids. Everybody out, I hate him. I don't know why.
Don't take it personally.
Maybe that's why. I swear to God. I'm not playing around. A lot of people think, I know. I thought like I was bitter myself. Like, my God, I'm this bad. Then I went to.
I wonder if they're drinking during the game. Yeah.
I mean, the guy who pipes in when he goes, I've been drinking a lot, the guy goes, you have.
You have. And actually, we've all brought you here today to tell you that it's getting a little out of control.
You might want to lay low for a while.
There's actually, those cameras aren't even on. We just all needed to get you here to have an intervention. Would make a little more sense.
Drinking, yes.
I killed a guy with a trident. I saw that.
Yeah, it escalated quickly. Yeah, things are bad in Chicago. The White Sox are
I
awful.
offered to be the GM for free.
You know, they're one more loss from taking you up on it.
They should. I go in there and clean house.
You're too good for this job. That's how bad they are.
Oh, thank you.
They're beneath you.
That's
you could
true.
actually say no to an MLB GM job.
I think you actually would have traded Crochet.
Well, no, Crochet did that to himself.
You would have set him on fire. That's what you would have done.
Jeez.
I would have changed the name.
You know, the GM just
From out of
lit our starting pitcher on fire. No, that's not funny. Manny is here. He's got updates for us this morning. El Presidente.
El Presidente doesn't have any content because you guys just took it.
Could you just look at Zoo real quick so we can see who's talking? So we know
I can't even see him, man. He's sitting down on the lowest chair on this floor. Anyway, the White Sox, they are 27-87 this season, you guys. 41.
Thank you, Manny.
41 and a half games back.
You know, for the people who are just tuning in.
41 and a half games back of Cleveland in the division, 36 and a half games back of Kansas City for the final wild card spot.
21 and 87 or
27 and 87.
So there's 60 games under 500?
And it's August.
No, think about it. I did this for my Sports Minute, so you might hear this on some of these stations. If they have 48 games left. If they won every single one of those games, they'd still finish 12 games under 500.
That is awful.
They are in Oakland tonight. Are those Chicago White Sox taking on the A's at the Coliseum in 8:40 Central Time? First pitch.
I want to see that crowd.
Tonight's to tie the record. It's going to be a packed house.
700
Would you come
people will
out
be
for
there.
that?
I think I like losing sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, like if
Why?
it's like this,
Train
if
wreck
it's this
stuff?
comical, yeah, it's great.
No.
I mean, you know what I mean? I'm there.
Kids today.
Oh,
I remember the 88 Orioles starting 0-21. Maggie, I hope you remember that.
Sure.
Didn't you want to go see them lose a game?
Well, I
though?
was 8. I didn't have a loser mentality at 8 at that point, but I remember them being 0-21. That's what they're trying to match tonight. We're not trying to, but they're hoping to not match today.
I mean, I would try. I would go for it at this point. I mean, what are you playing for?
Well, you can't try to lose. I mean, that's
Watch us.
Are they? They've had another losing streak of 14 games, right?
Yeah, and I heard that if you actually eliminate their 2 longest losing streaks of the season, they'd still be below 500.
Yeah, definitely. 60 games under. That'd be 34 games under.
Oof.
Yikes.
Oh, my God.
Freddie Freeman, you guys, and his wife,
$1.
they are living every parent's worst nightmare. The two announced on social media that their 3-year-old son, Maximus, is home from the hospital after being treated for Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare neurological disorder. This comes after a frightening 8 days in which the Freeman saw their son stay in a pediatric intensive care unit. In a previous social media post, the Freeman said Maximus went into a full body paralysis and needed a ventilator to breathe. According to the Mayo Clinic, Guillain-Barré is a condition in which the body's immune system attacks the nerves. Although there is no cure, most people do recover from it. Freeman has been absent from the Dodgers lineup since July 26, but Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, he said Freeman could rejoin the team at some point this week. The Dodgers are 3-5 in his absence. In the NFL on Saturday, it was revealed that the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill had agreed to a restructured contract worth $90 million over the next 3 years, and $65 million of it guaranteed. And we go back to Paris, you guys. Grab your passport because Simone Biles, Simone Biles, she slipped off the balance beam this morning, denying her of a podium spot and an opportunity to add to the bronze medal she won at the same event in 2016 and in 2020. She finishes tied for 5th in the event with fellow American Suni Lee. Biles still has a chance for medal number 11 of her Olympic career in the floor final later today, but Suni Lee's Olympics are over. She heads home with 3 medals, giving the 21-year-old 6 Olympic medals for her career.
Manny, thank you for that. Simone slipped off the beam.
So did Lee.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it's been a great Olympics.
Yeah, I'm not who cares, but I mean,
she won 10 medals.
10.
I get it, but
I can move over one quickly, I think.
But when you're in the GOAT conversation,
Yeah.
I think people expect that you're going to be near the top. She's got 2 more events left. This one, she had 2 more events left. This one, and then what's the next one?
The floor final. Now that's her GOAT event, though.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But, she's kind of GOAT event in all of them, isn't she?
Except for the beam.
Now the floor events when they do all the flips on the floor, right?
Yeah.
She got 12 feet in the air. I saw 12 feet.
I think it's hilarious. The uneven bars? Mm-hmm. They need like a little boost, to get up.
So
I'm
the
like,
guys, though.
I'm like, you just jumped 12 feet in the air. Like, you need a little bit of a ping, like a little boost to get up there.
Boosties, please.
It's like Kevin Durant just said you could alley-oop a dunk, and I believed him. It doesn't make sense.
Well, that little springboard thing they can bounce up onto. That's how I could get to the Olympics. I could be the booster guy.
That's it? That's you?
Yeah. You're going to do the uneven bars.
No, that's like the...
And the captain of the SS Zubir.
Yeah, right. When you guys are on the sailing team.
We'd be at the wrong Olympics.
It'd be funny if it's like, this has never happened in the history of Olympics. Someone actually got lost at sea. we lost them.
Arr, matey, we're coming back for more of the booty.
Gonna be honest, Zoo, in a different life, you're a very nice guy, so I can't really see you being a pirate because I think you've got to be pretty mean to be a pirate. You're too kind-hearted. But man, I could see you being a pirate.
I would be like, I wouldn't be the captain. Like, that's obvious. That's Bogus's
Thank
job.
you. Sidekick?
Yeah, I'm like a first mate, one of the guys,
bosun?
comedic relief of the crew.
I could see it. Parrot on your shoulder?
Exactly. Maybe. That's like a first mate job. If I'm just comedic relief, I'll take a nice fancy hat.
Fancy hat, eye patch, wooden leg.
Definite eye patch.
Yeah.
I would hope not for the wooden leg. I'd hope I'd be working with 2, but you know what? We do what we do.
How'd he lose it? Alligator accident like Captain Hook.
I just like the idea of us setting sail in the 28 Olympics from LA, but then re-showing up again at the 2032 games in Brisbane.
At the end of the race.
We win that race. Started in LA, 4 years later, first across the line in Australia.
In like a
Showed up in rags, just tatters.
We left looking like Manny. We got there looking like Zoo.
Manny is, with his new haircut, just looking like an oil painting. Like, I can see Manny hanging in a museum. It's just like, hey, who discovered, the Potomac? It's like, it was actually Manny.
Who was the first to sail
And
the
who was right
Atlantic?
next to him? Zoo.
Aye, matey.
You have to go with the Potomac. Not even you couldn't pick a local river around the New York City area.
Sorry. Find the Hudson. I mean, none of us discovered any of this anyways. The Native Americans were already here. But you know what I'm saying. I could see you as a conquistador.
Yeah. I can see the picture. You're standing in the back of a boat. Me and Zoo are with the oars. You've got your foot up, your regal clothing on. Like,
imperialism.
I declare the Potomac.
Wait,
yeah.
We're kayaking now?
We got a rowboat for you, Zoo. Don't worry. You'll make it across the Atlantic. We've got all the faith in the world. You'll get there eventually.
Give me a month.
For what?
To find your way out of the harbor.
I just need to catch a good tide and I'm good.
The wind was not our friend.
Did you guys ever see when Tom Hanks is in that? Well, I know Bilotti has. Tom Hanks in Castaway?
Yes.
Where at first he doesn't know what's going on, and they flash forward 3 years later, and he's just like spearing a fish.
Yep.
Totally. Zoo?
Hey, that would be me, Bogish. I don't know, Manny, you could join us. Gallo and Stu. That'll be us off the coast of probably like American Samoa or something.
You realize that, like, not to get too behind the scenes here, but like Stu and Gallo at some point will kill each other over the Raiders or something.
But we'll send them out, and they can take that frustration out on the fish and on the food.
It's like the Raiders versus the Broncos. They're two fan affiliations, and Stu will just end up like choking Gallo by the throat.
They'll just still be arguing about 2023 stats because we've been gone for 4 years.
The Raiders moved again. Whoa, not even in Vegas anymore.
I bet you they won this year.
Zoo, we got to recruit one guy who has survival skills.
I could
in this office.
I'm a survivor. If we come across, listen, I'm a survivor.
Can you start a fire though with like some branches and a rock?
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Give me branches and a rock.
Okay.
No shot.
Nah, I think we could use one more though. You can always use an extra. I might get a little lazy from time to time.
I'm sorry. Listen, you got to know your strengths and your weaknesses. I think that's really important. Self-scout.
We all have to be honest with
I don't
ourselves.
work on Tuesdays.
I'm the comic relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which gets real funny when everyone hasn't eaten in 5 days.
Two shows a night.
2 shows a night.
7 and 9. Otherwise, leave me alone.
I just
do that joke again about the boat. Oh, come on.
Did you hear the one about the priest, the rabbi, and Raquel Welch? Who has survival skills in this office? The answer is nobody.
No one.
What if we had Jim Rome join us?
He would be the only one.
Rome is superhuman.
Yeah, but he's got a guy for that.
Rome will send somebody
Yes.
in his stead.
No, he's got a guy for survival.
De Benedetto?
No, it's not. It's none of those guys. He's got a security detail. He's one of those guys that can start a fire. It ain't Jim.
Nick Theodoro, maybe. That could work.
I feel like David Marinick was like an Eagle Scout.
No.
Oh, I could see that.
Wait, isn't Carlos Ortiz like in the army?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Carlos.
a good one. There we go.
What are we talking about? He's like an active army. He's a reserve now.
Right.
He did 2 tours.
But we don't need a sniper. I need a guy that can like skin a fish and like.
He's got more skills than all of us combined. Oh my gosh, we got to go. All right, Manny, thank you so much. Look at the time. We'll put a pin in that conversation. Lots more to do, including we got an update over the weekend on one contract situation, but it's not the one you're thinking of. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is your girl.
This is my girl.
What's her name?
There's a whole chapel roll. There's a whole dance to this song.
And we'll be doing that in the next break.
CB likes it.
YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet.
Wait for the hook.
Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. And on X, formerly Twitter, at Maggie Gray. You know a dance to this?
I know what the dance is. It's like YMCA. It's HOTTOGO. You spell it out with your arms like you're singing. Yeah. Like 80,000 people in Chicago did it on Thursday afternoon.
All right. Well, we'll see if...
Come on in, Maggie. I'm trying to help you here, Maggie.
Can reenact that coming
do
up.
that instead of playing White Sox games.
A nightly concert.
Honestly, they would love to have half the crowd of Lollapalooza. A quarter of the crowd. Okay, so if you missed this over the weekend, Tyreek Hill got some brand new money in his contract, $65 million in new money, Bogusch, but they didn't add any years to the contract because obviously Tyreek Hill on the wrong side of 30 for wide receivers. If I'm CeeDee Lamb at this point, I am offended. I'm taking this personally. It has nothing to do with me, but I'm taking it personally. How does Tyreek Hill, who already had a contract and seemingly was at camp and everything was pretty much fine, he gets more money now, and I'm still sitting out here waiting.
And with Justin Jefferson done, there's basically 98% of a deal for CeeDee Lamb done, too. This should not be that difficult. And I'm just going to believe this is Cowboy dysfunction. Maybe it's good business, but I think it's just them picking fights for the wrong reasons. This one should be done, just like Dak should be done, but they have put themselves in this weird spot where 2 and maybe 3 of their best players are unhappy right now.
Listen, this would be the one thing. If they're going to zag, right? If they were doing an all-time, hey, we're going to trade away CeeDee Lamb next year. We're going to tag him and trade him next year. And for Dak Prescott, we're ready for the Dak Prescott era to be over or something like that. If they're actually doing something sort of out of the ordinary. But if they're really just waiting around to sign these guys, you're right. The price isn't going backwards, right, Jerry. Here's the thing about CeeDee Lamb. You have to think that whether you and I think that he's as good a wide receiver as Justin Jefferson, that's not really the point. The point is he's as important to what the Cowboys do as Justin Jefferson is important to what the Vikings are doing. And that's CeeDee Lamb. That's the argument right there. End of story. And that's what his agents are going to say. The new Madden ratings, for whatever that's worth, are also not going to help Jerry Jones because CeeDee Lamb is the third highest rated wide receiver in that game behind Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and then it's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So, of course he thinks he's worth $100 million.
Yeah, and he is, because it's just like on the outside, we know that these contracts are not straight value judgments. It's just his turn to get paid. You want him to still be in Dallas. Just be over with this. Like, just find the right number. It can't be that far off.
Man.
Or keep doing this so the rest of the NFC East benefits from you being the Cowboys.
We have more to unpack on that whole situation. We have more from Michigan to get into. We've got an update on that scandal from the season is back again. So much more to do. Maggie and Perloff. Andrew Bogusch is in for Perloff today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Let's do it.
Big butts matter. Blah.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
At the helm with a flare, a joint in his hand, salt breeze in his hair. With first mate Andrew Bogusch rolling greens by his side, they navigate not for gold, but for a chill smoky ride. Oh, puff, puff, row, Big Two keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the smoky sky. Whose laughter echoes over ocean waves so fast. Stay chill, steer easy, his motto from the past. Which way's the race, he chuckles, cloud of smoke in the air. Bogusch with a smirk, who cares when you're floating on air? Oh, puff, puff, row, Big Two keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the smoky sky. Big Zoo's boat might wobble, but their spirits never dip. With every puff and giggle, they're on a fantastic trip. Olympics or not, they've won their own game. With a stash of good vibes, they enjoy their fame. Around them competition, but they're just in bliss. Big Zoo and Bogusch, nothing amiss. Through foggy spectacles, they see a different goal. In their Olympics of cool, they're on a roll. Row, Big Two keeps it slow, laughing through the mist, where do they even go? No medals to win, they've got their own high, under the high seas Olympics, beneath the
smoky sky. So here's to Big Zoo and his trusty mate Bogush in a league of their own, without any rush. The trophy is laughter, the medal pure joy. In the high seas Olympics, they're the real McCoy.
And once again, the Cowboys compete for the next final score.
Big Zoo, my spirits never dead.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Forgive me for undermining the amazing NFL players that play in the league. Hey, welcome to the show, by the way. Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogush in for Andrew Perloff. And it's not that I don't trust the players, but when you ask them to pick the top 100 of their peers in the NFL, I just think they're not seeing what we're seeing, and there's just a disconnect. Tyreek Hill is number one. Okay, I get it. The players vote Tyreek Hill as the best player in the NFL. It's not like that much of a stretch. But Patrick Mahomes at 4. I mean, what are we doing here? Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson is 2, Christian McCaffrey is 3, and Patrick Mahomes is 4. What do you have to do to get rated number 1 in the NFL according to the players if it's not Mahomes?
Or is this the beginning of the blowback? Is this the beginning of people having enough of Mahomes and the Chiefs that they, for whatever reason, don't put him any higher? I think the setup here was you submitted a top 20 as a player, and then all the votes got cast. You ended up with 100 on the list. But, I mean, I have an initial problem with, I think, any wide receiver being the best player in the game. I just don't know if that can ever be the case. But Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tyreek Hill is a wide receiver. And I think Mahomes is better than Lamar Jackson. And I love Christian McCaffrey, but he ain't Patrick Mahomes either.
Well, the fact is Mahomes won 2 Super Bowls without Hill. Like that would,
right.
That's not the whole story.
It kind of is, though.
But it's definitely part of the story. And the thing is about Lamar Jackson is an all-time great quarterback. He's got the 2 MVPs. We understand. He's not better than Mahomes. He's not. Guys, that's what I would love to sit down with an NFL player and have them and maybe it's defensive players Lamar's harder to bring down, but I don't think even that's true.
Can you touch Mahomes? I mean, and even if you do bring him down, he gets hurt, he gets right back up and still kicks your butt. So yeah. I don't get it.
It's funny if this is part of the blowback, because you would think if you're doing a list like this and you're in your profession, right? Would you really allow that saltiness or bitterness over over the dynasty of the Chiefs? But here's the thing about the Chiefs. I would understand the blowback against the Patriots. Are they filming people's practices? Were they filming walkthroughs? Was there a cheating aspect to Deflategate, whether you think that's silly or not? There was always this part about the Patriots where you thought they were playing fast and loose with the rules. There's none of that with the Chiefs. No one's ever accused them of cheating or not being above board. They're just better. They're just beating you. So to me, that saltiness shouldn't apply for a list like this.
It shouldn't, but I think we are giving players too much credit for having deep thoughts here. I think this is all kind of on the surface, primeval things oh, he beat me one day, so he's great. Or I beat him, so he must suck, even though the other 16 games he played, he crushed the NFL,
Right.
or he stole my girl, or he beat me up in college. Like, there's all these things other than just straight football analysis, and there's also just dummies in the mix, like guys who don't know what they're doing, which is part of the issue here as well.
Well, I think that's why when fans get upset or when players get upset saying that, there's biases in the media and it plays into this. There's biases with the players, as you just outlined. To not make Patrick Mahomes one, just to me seems really silly. Like, you guys you're missing the plot here. You might want to say that Tyreek Hill could be the most skilled, or you could, marvel at his athletic, ability. Same with Lamar Jackson. But you can't tell me that Tyreek Hill is more important to his team than Mahomes is to his. And you can't tell me that Mahomes, if there was an open draft, you wouldn't take Mahomes first over Lamar Jackson. I just can't believe that.
And even if you take away the value part of this, I just think Patrick Mahomes is a better technical quarterback by not by a large margin, but he plays quarterback better than Tyreek Hill plays wide receiver, which is saying a lot because Tyreek Hill plays wide receiver maybe better than anybody on the planet right now. But I just think Mahomes is better. When Aaron Donald was on this list, that made sense. If there was a left tackle that ate up pass rushers, even that would make sense. But there's no way that there are three people better than Patrick Mahomes on a football field.
Yeah. And Christian McCaffrey too, even with his dual threat, catch the ball and being able to run. I still, you're telling me any running back, you're just not doing it. You're not taking him above Patrick Mahomes. So we thought that was a little interesting. Again, this is the NFL 100 list, and that's the players themselves voting on the top 100 players in the league, and Patrick Mahomes somehow is fourth. And we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and whether or not sort of the shiny image of, everything's great with the Chiefs because they keep winning, if that's starting to get dented a little bit and it's a little drip, drip, drip over time. The latest is John Gruden being at the Chiefs training camp, full Chiefs gear, head to toe. And obviously John Gruden, his reputation has taken a massive hit, as it should have, because of the racist and homophobic emails that were unearthed by an investigation that happened recently.
Yeah, and it's got to be on the table. It's got to be on the table that people are just tired of writing either an individual Chiefs name or the Chiefs in general down at the top of a list. Somebody in this, is it the prevailing reason for Mahomes being number 4? Probably not. But there's got to be some people who are just oh, enough of this guy. Give me somebody else. I'm just not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I see that you can't do that though. To me,
but again,
I'm bringing logic to it.
Well, and also this is a list that means nothing, and this is in the season of lists, and I couldn't be less of a list guy. But this is why, because they're not science, they're not fair, they're not logical, they don't line up with what people think. I mean, this list, and we're going to go through it, I think, throughout the week. There's some things in this list that make zero sense.
No, there are, but you would like to believe that the players themselves would have the best handle on this. And I'm just going to have to respectfully disagree with them. I think that they really missed this here. To have Patrick Mahomes ranked as the 4th best player in the league right now, it's disingenuous. It smacks of that.
I guess. I said this to you guys off the air yesterday. When I worked before here at Sirius XM, I worked on the NFL channel with a lot of former players, coaches, and the players in particular. I was always amazed by some of them, not all of them, but there were some guys who didn't know anything other than their position and their team. They don't know, just because you can play left tackle doesn't mean you understand cornerback. You don't remember people. They remember numbers. They remember if you don't play somebody, you don't have a vow, you can't process him or her, or Joe Burrow's on 4 reasons on this list. He doesn't play a lot of games last year. So people just forget that Joe Burrow exists and they don't put him in their top 20. And all of a sudden he's in a weird spot where there's quarterbacks ahead of him on this list that definitely are not
Tua.
Better than, Tua, who are definitely not better than him. Sometimes players are just dummies because they succeed by the tunnel vision of only caring about their job on that Sunday. They're not watching every other game like we are because they're playing or traveling. And then the next week, they're only looking at the team they're playing.
Very Belichickian, do your job. Yeah. As Mahomes may have been the victim of something like that because either there's just no other way to explain it. You're welcome to weigh in. 855-212-4227, and whether the Chiefs have sort of, to borrow from wrestling, taken a heel turn. I know we have some guys who are itching to talk maybe about SummerSlam. We'll get to that in just one moment.
This is where I leave.
This is where Bogish gets to take a coffee break. I put this out on X. It's a poll question. I'm a little surprised by the results so far. I asked, can you brag about being the fastest person on earth if you win the 100 meters by 5 thousandths of a second? 0.005 of a second. 93% of people say yes. I'm going to go solid no here. You can be proud of yourself, and you should be, of your achievement, but you really can't go around beating your chest saying, I'm the fastest man alive when you won the race by 1,000th of a second. That's not the fastest. You were right there with all the other guys.
But he is technically the fastest.
Well, yeah, but again, I'm also not saying you can't be happy. You just can't really be bragging about it. This is Noah Lyles. And listen, Noah Lyles, take your victory lap. I'm just sort of pointing out, if I barely won this thing by the skin of my teeth, and to be honest, I kind of think the Jamaican guy still won it. I don't know if I can say, yep, no doubt, I'm the fastest man on the planet. It's without a doubt, it's me. It's like a chest hair away from being the other guy.
You pull me in, and then I run away from your side of this argument because he did win, but he won because of his collarbone. And when you win only after you have to stand there and wait for the board to put up the result because nobody knows, that probably should a little bit tone down the
right.
the celebration afterwards.
This is not Usain Bolt, who is just basically had time to stop at Mickey D's on his way to cruising to a finish. And he famously said that he always ate a lot of McDonald's. This is not that. This is the eyelash that you won by. I don't think I'd be like, yep, knew it all the time. Had him all the way. Yeah, EJ, go ahead.
Should Kawhi Leonard not have celebrated beating the Sixers and going on to win a championship because he barely got a shot off and it went in and they won a series? Should Chris Jenkins give back his national championship because he barely got a shot off and they beat North Carolina? I don't understand this. He won the race. It doesn't matter how close it was. He still won, just like those other guys barely got shots off and they won championships. You got to give them credit.
Okay, but here's the thing about that. There was no doubt that Chris Jenkins hit that shot for Villanova with time left, feet behind the line, the whole deal. I still think this photo finish is subject to interpretation. This is not a slam dunk open and shut case like Kawhi Leonard. That ball went in. We all saw it. This to me, and listen, I'm happy it worked out for the U.S., Go USA, but are we even sure they actually got the right result?
You got the lean in, Maggie. That's all. That's what it's all about in track. They say that he has the best lean, and they showed it. He's been practicing this thing. His whole thing about being a sprinter is that he runs people down. He ran down the fastest man. He's down in this race. And then the finish is his signature. So the fact that he actually won in this manner, I think I give him more credit for that, because this is what apparently is his signature, is him being able to finish races. And he finished it with literally no margin for error. He should be getting credit, Maggie. You shouldn't be taking this away from him.
Well, he can keep his gold medal. But Chris Jenkins and Kawhi Leonard didn't hit those shots and then go, I'm the best shooter ever, or I'm the best player on the planet. You celebrate your gold medal, but there is a slight, again, limitation to what you can do, even if you did it the way you're supposed to. When you win by a body part just across the line, by the benefit of how your body was moving at that moment.
Yeah, you can't be I'm the best to ever do it.
Right. Yeah. Which he wasn't planning from step one in the block. It just happened to be that his collarbone got there first at the very last second. Just maybe means you should be a little thankful that it didn't go the other direction.
Kevin is on X. He said, speed is absolute. So yes, you're either are or you aren't. If you beat all the other fast people, you're the fastest. I mean, by a 5,000th of a second, they didn't even have this, if this was 20 years ago, do that whole thing.
Yeah, at one point, was a photo finish reliable? How much history could have been written incorrectly based on a Polaroid in the 1964 game?
This is what I just did that thing that I always forget when I say, this was 20 years ago. Yeah, 2004. They definitely had the technology then.
Don't you hate those things? We're we're just as close to like 2050 as we are to like 1960. Like these weird things like that you think are so far in the future or so far back in history, and it's like yesterday. Like, no thanks.
Pine Needles in the chat. So when a horse wins a race by a nose or a NASCAR driver wins by the edge of a bumper, it means they're actually no good. Not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying they're no good. I'm saying, can you brag about being the fastest when you win by 1,000ths of a second? I don't know. This one I'd kind of be like, whew. really glad to be here. 855.
I'm just going to leave before we look at the picture again.
Yeah, nobody go back and check that. Okay, we've got a lot more to do. You're welcome to weigh in on the Chiefs. John Gruden at camp. Is this taking a little bit more of the bloom off the rose for you with the Kansas City Chiefs? Clearly, the NFL players not voting Patrick Mahomes as the best player in the league. He was 4th behind Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson, and Christian McCaffrey. Something going on there. A little jealousy, maybe? 855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including the one thing that has everyone cracking up around here. Do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's fine, it's cool. You can say that we ain't nothing, but you know the truth. And guess
Welcome back. Maggie, great. Andrew Bogusin for Andrew Perloff. You know, we haven't really been paying attention to this on this show, at least, enough, which is what is going on at Rams camp. So yesterday, Bogues, Puka Nacua left practice against the Chargers, a joint practice. About an hour in, he was seen on the sidelines with a bag of ice around his right knee. Rams head coach Sean McVay, according to The Athletic, said he was not sure what happened to Nacua. So no further update. We're waiting on more from that. Meanwhile, cornerback Darius Williams is now week to week with a hamstring injury. Their backup quarterback suffered a season-ending torn ACL. That was Darian Kendrick. 3 starting offensive linemen are now week to week. It's like the last thing you want to see. I mean, knock on wood, Stafford is still upright and good, but Nacua, I mean, I know they have Cooper Kupp, but he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. Nacua going down with a knee injury, not what you want.
And I don't like I don't know what happened either. That's not good news.
You have 2 coaches in the same division who've been kind of doing the same thing. Mike McDonald, the same thing about Geno Smith. Like, the guy hasn't practiced now like over a week. He's the starting quarterback. They're like, we're still doing imaging. I'm like, all right. You're not like climbing Everest. Where are you getting the imaging from? It's a hip and a knee. Like, let's get it going here.
I mean, maybe
very cagey.
Maybe the silver lining is you like get things out of the way now in August, so guys are healthy in September. If you're going to have bad injury luck, have it now. But I'm still a fairly big believer in like you set the groundwork for the season now. They're professionals. These guys were here last year. They're not all new to the system or new chemistry-wise, but like these missed reps are real things just for now, let alone bleeding into the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we expect from this time of year, but still not great. Let's go to Rich in Chicago. We were asking the question, if you win the 100-meter dash by 5/1000ths of a second, can you really brag about being the fastest man on earth or woman? Rich, good morning.
Yeah, no, it's not Rich. It's Billy.
Oh, Billy.
And it's in Toronto, not
Billy
Chicago.
in Toronto. Zoo, what bong are you smoking back there? How did you get Rich in Chicago? I'm sorry, who is this? It's Billy in Toronto?
And what do you want to talk about, Billy?
Well,
Zoo, you didn't even get the right country. How do you miss on that?
So you're not the map guy on our boat.
Yeah, Zoo, you're fired from being, navigator on this ship.
I was never the navigator.
We know.
That's Bogus's job.
We actually have a theory that Zoo might actually mix up the wrong day and miss the voyage completely. Like, crap, guys. Sorry, I thought we were leaving Wednesday.
I would really leave you guys out to sea with that one, huh?
Yeah. All right. So Billy's in Toronto. You're not Rich in Chicago. Hey, Billy.
Well, I love Chicago. Been there many times to see the Cubs and White Sox, but I'm definitely from Toronto. I'm pretty sure of that. So
you know where you are. Zoo, no clue.
Yeah,
that tracks.
No, guys, I call anybody. I usually talk to Carrington or the guys on Saturday and Sunday, and I got to agree with Maggie here. I mean, when you win it just by that much, I mean, maybe they should do something in the Olympics where you got like playoffs in other sports where you got to win 4 to 7. Like if you run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, come on. This guy, if they run again today, and you were allowed to bet money on it, could you put your whole house and home that he's going to win again because he's the fastest? He could easily come 4th or 5th if they run today. It was that close. So that's the way I see that. It's not like back in the day when Bolt would win easy, or even our guy up here, even though he was juiced out of his mind.
Ben Johnson.
Back in the 80s. But I mean, that was so close. You can't brag about that. And you were the best. You were the best yesterday, but just barely. But I want to get back to the rankings. Like I say, I've called your station lots of times, and forget about disagreeing on Patrick Mahomes. I know the people that know me that call know that I beat this I beat it up pretty badly, but I can't see the ranking of Lamar Jackson being up there. I've said it a million. I don't even think Lamar Jackson's the top 5 or 10 quarterbacks in football. He looks great against the bad teams. He absolutely looks magnificent. But where's that Super Bowl? This guy looks so bad against good defensive teams. I can't rank him in my top 10 quarterbacks, let alone top 5 players. You want to say exciting? I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But top 5, no way, guys. I don't see him up there. Anyway, I'll leave you with that.
Billy in Toronto, not Rich in Chicago. Billy, thank you so much for weighing in on that. Okay, first things first. He's on to something here. Let's do the final of the men's 100 meter, a best 2 out of 3. I think that is awesome. I bet NBC would be into it. I know these runners' bodies, sprinters' bodies are very delicate, but let's just best 2 out of 3.
Let's just throw them out there. Best 3 out of 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's the best of 7
or anything.
Yeah, we're gonna do it over 6 months.
This feels like a Bilotti idea. I'm surprised that you're against this.
That we get a true champion, not 5/100,000ths of a second. Oh, I'm the fastest person alive. Come on.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You know what? If I was able to run the Olympics, there'd be a whole lot of changes.
There'd be no Olympics.
There'd be no Olympics.
Yeah. Starting with you'd cancel the event.
IOC would be gone. We would do everything on the up and up. Everything would be honesty. It would be all clean cut across the board.
Pete, you don't do things here on the up and up.
I do.
You would not do things on the up and up, running the IOC, people throwing money at you to host your event.
No, they're going to have a bidding process, and the highest bidder wins. That's it.
Oh, man.
No politics, none of that.
Pete's going to have every Olympics in Beijing.
Guys, this is a guy who around
Sochi, Beijing, so Russia, China.
This is a guy. We're going to have it all in America. We're going to have everything in America.
People love that.
That's right. Salt Lake City.
No funny business there. Just an American continuously
Texas.
Awarding it to America.
We're bringing the Olympics to Idaho.
Hey,
Boise
have fun at the
beautiful.
surfing event. Good luck with your pirate ship there.
I mean, Maggie doesn't know this story, but Pete is a guy who would go to some of the places around here that charge by weight for your food, where he wouldn't put it all the way on the scale.
Oh, putting thumb on the scale. What is
It puts a thumb on the scale.
No, the match.
You put 2/3 of the
matches?
styrofoam
But
container
that's
on.
not my problem. They gotta put the plate on the tray. I put it up on the thing. They should move if it's off.
Right.
If it's off.
Or the one time breakfast was being bought and you weren't hungry, so you bought lunch instead.
What's wrong
you
with
had somebody
that?
else buy you lunch.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know if Josh Allen's chef would be interested.
I didn't get
Keon
a
Coleman
steak.
said no fish.
I didn't get a steak. It was a different cold cut. Sorry.
You got Zoo here holding your hand for no reason.
I'm a good hand holder.
Are you? You said it was Rich in Chicago and it was Billy in Toronto.
Billy's a liar. No, Billy's a good guy.
And Zoo, you could say it's anybody. You know that I can't quit you.
Is this the Stern show? Nope.
Easy over there. Don't be calling anybody Stern around here.
I really have that problem.
Oh man. So to the other point, if we are even care about that right now, the other point about Lamar Jackson not being good defenses, Billy, just got to respectfully disagree with you there. Went into San Francisco, beat them 33-19, beat the Lions 38-6. I mean, that's just last season. There were some signature wins against good defenses. Beat the Cleveland Browns 28-3. There's some really good defenses that Lamar Jackson faces, and he does very well against them. So I can't say that he's not deserving. I don't think he's the second best quarterback. I'll give you that. Mahomes is number one going away. That's what the problem with this NFL 100 poll, where the players themselves vote on the players, and they put Mahomes as the second best quarterback and the fourth best player overall.
It does feel like they pick the top of this list based on guys that they like to play as in Madden. Like, it's fun to be Tyreek Hill. It's fun to be McCarthy. It's fun to be Lamar. And then it's kind of fun to be Mahomes. So we'll put him at number 4.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. Manny is here. He's doing updates for us. El Presidente looking very, very spiffy despite the ketchup stain on your shirt. We identified it. It's ketchup.
Stupid bacon, egg, and cheese.
That does not stop me from thinking you look like you just accepted a Fulbright scholarship.
Well, I appreciate that.
Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Appreciate
What
All
Ivy
off a
League you going
haircut.
to?
What was that?
What Ivy League you going to?
Dartmouth.
Oh, nice. A little Perloff.
Me and Perloff, yeah.
You and Perloff, Dartmouth brothers.
Yeah, a little bit. Guys, why don't we start off on the gridiron? The NFL Top 100 is out and grinding the gears of many football fans as Tyreek Hill was at the top of the list and Patrick Mahomes listed as the second best QB in the league. Also unhappy is Bears DB Jaylon Johnson. He was completely omitted from the 100.
There ain't no way. I don't know how you make Pro Bowl, All Pro, and you're not a top 100 guy. I could have been 101, I guess, but Aaron Rodgers didn't even play in the season. He was voted. So, hey, everybody make mistakes. It ain't just the media that do it. The players, clearly, if they voted for this, they made some mistakes. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I know the truth.
Johnson made 36.
What's with the cursing? Enough.
Okay.
I've had enough with the cursing. Every time we hear a cut now, it has a curse in it. Enough with it.
It's everybody. It's the coaches. It's the players.
Right. Have some professionalism.
Yeah, we have to
curse.
edit that.
We had to bleep out John Mara the other day.
John Mara.
Owner of the Giants, said the B word. Like,
right.
Kvetching, sort of, in that.
But come on.
Complaining.
Every time now, it's like every cut. If we have a cut on the sheet that doesn't have any cursing, it's the first.
We are more casual, I think, as a society with our language.
Fine.
Shut the bleep up.
Johnson made 36 bleeping tackles last season with 4 picks.
Guy.
One return to the house of his 4 interceptions in 14 games for Johnson. He also forced a fumble and recovered one en route to being named to the AP's All-Pro second team.
He's bleeping right. He should be in the top 100.
A couple of DBs who just cracked the top 100. They include Julian Love, Harrison Smith, and Reek Woolen. A couple of guys who made the top 100.
If you say so.
I think that Jaylon Johnson also admitted he had a little bit of a problem with watching people bleep too much. No? Nobody got there with that story?
Was it the match
I
game?
remember that.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Well,
That was him.
Yeah, it was him, right?
Yep.
So
That's why he didn't get voted in.
a lot of
There you
bleeping going on. You think that's what kept him out? Doubt it. Let's go through everybody's search history. Back to Manny.
Sean McVay
People
is
be let out of cuffs.
Close my iPad.
Why did Bogut just throw his iPad in the Hudson?
or in the
A
Potomac.
lot of pole vaulting videos.
All right, history.
You don't have to burn it, Bogut.
Yeah, Bogus just launched his iPad to the Potomac River from
It's
Hudson
like
Street.
double
Rowan plus pole vault. That's a
double
weird
password
search.
protected. 20-factor authentication. Sheesh.
Javelin wrestling. What?
Eyeball scan.
Cursing to the skies this morning is Sean McVay as his wide receiver Puka Nacua is now considered week to week after suffering a knee injury this weekend. According to ESPN, though, a source described the injury as, quote, not serious. To the diamond, Jackson Holliday and Gunnar Henderson each hit a home run as the Orioles beat the Guardians 9-5. Corbin Burns recorded his 12th win of the season in the victory. The Yankees, they beat the Blue Jays in 10 innings, 8-3. That's 7 wins for the Bombers over their last 8 games. The Guardians, the O's, and the Yankees each have 67 wins. That's the most in baseball.
Great. Next.
All right, that's basically a curse, Grandpa.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Well, how good they are?
Yeah, enough of the Yankees. I had them. I had enough.
Do you realize we haven't even hit peak Yankee time?
I know.
Aaron Judge is about to hit another 60 home runs.
Great.
They're going to be breaking into college football games to watch it.
Incredible. I can't wait.
Did the Mets win yesterday? No, they lost, right? No, I'm genuinely
You're
curious.
the
I didn't
update guy.
ask. I didn't look it
Manny,
up.
you're the news guy around here. You can't be asking us for the scores.
Yeah, can you give us an update on that?
Would have been like, what happened in the Angels game yesterday? And he's like, what are you, hot potato passing to Zoo? What's going on around here?
Bogus, you got to be ready for that on the update, man.
Come on.
You don't even know who's reading the news, or what day it is, or what city people are in, or what show you're working
Or
on.
country. Rich in Chicago? Nope, it's Billy in Toronto. Way off.
If you ever need scores, just get Peter Schwartz's yellow legal pad, and then he has it all written down there. That he recycles.
And
go ahead.
An update on our Olympians in Paris, Pete. Make it 58 straight wins in the Olympics for U.S. women's hoops. They beat Germany 87-68. Next up, Nigeria in the quarterfinals. Noah Lyles, he wins the men's 100-meter by a sternum, becoming the first American to win the race since Justin Gatlin in 2004. Scottie Scheffler was seen weeping at the podium after shooting a 62 in the final round at Le Golf National to win gold. And in front of future Pro Football Hall of Famer Tom Brady, Simone Biles and Suni Lee, they failed to medal this morning on the balance beam. That marks the end of the games for Lee, who leaves Paris with 3 new medals for her mantle, while Biles still has one event left, the floor final.
I didn't know that Brady was there.
I love Scottie Scheffler, by the way, crying.
Okay, so let's talk about Scheffler.
Oh.
Let's pause on him for a second. Scheffler wins gold yesterday, and he was brilliant. I mean, John Rahm sort of opened up the door because he blew it, but Scottie Scheffler's right there. Did he score I think he shot a 29 on the back nine or something?
A 9 under 62 altogether.
And he tied the course record. This guy is nuts. I think he's become this American hero now too. He went from somebody who was known to be the anonymous champion. Who's this guy, Scottie Scheffler? He had won the Masters and then won it again, but the most interesting part about that was whether or not his wife was going to give birth and whether or not he would leave the tournament.
The angst from you two.
And then all of a sudden he
Pick
gets...
a lane, Scotty.
All of a sudden he gets arrested.
Golf for kids, not both.
Before the players... Or the U.S. Was it the U.S. Open?
No, the PGA.
The PGA. I was wrong on everyone. The PGA, and he becomes describe it. He's a American hero.
I mean, absolutely. And then he does what he does, like you said, over the weekend. But it's just comical to me because a couple days ago when they were asking him, hey, what would winning the gold mean to you? He was like, kind of melancholy about it. And then he goes, at the end, he's like, at the end of the day, we'll all be forgotten. So it's funny that,
And now he's crying.
It's funny how when you win, you realize, I think this is actually great.
Yeah, right.
It's
I
not
won,
as bad
so
as
this
I
is
thought.
my greatest purpose in life.
Yeah, France isn't as bad as I thought it was.
Also, suck it losers who now have no legacy and will leave absolutely nothing behind.
Yeah, John Rahm, how'd you like choking, buddy?
Hideki Matsuyama, you loser.
Hero.
For some reason, the Olympics, the golf event, did that first day of school, hold up the little board with your information on it, and everyone wrote under goals win gold, and he just wrote have fun.
Scottie came into this in a bad place.
No, we're in a good place. He was whatever. I'm here for the croissants. If I win, I win.
Now the croissants are tasting real good over there in Paris.
Yeah. Man, it is interesting. I think he's definitely captured people's imagination. I think it started with the arrest. He's maybe there's more to this guy that meets the eye. He's got a little bit of an edge. It's no, he was just not obeying a traffic cue, and all the charges have been dropped, and it's totally fine. But it definitely put him into this different conversation.
Well, and then you crying over the anthem yesterday that's a big win. That's a smart move. Accidentally, that's going to carry you for a long way.
A lot of crying from some of these veteran guys. Novak Djokovic just broke down and he was sobbing. And so was Carlos Alcaraz, who he lost.
It's the only reason why I want Perloff to be here. He was a big non-believer in Olympic tennis and golf, and we had all the emotions of all these guys winning or losing. Doesn't matter. This is what they do all the time. Got guys sobbing uncontrollably, laying on the ground, asking for help, hugging their family. Djokovic said this was the greatest win of his life.
Can I tell you
won everything.
What Perloff would say if he were here? He'd be they were faking it.
Would he be listening in the first place since I was speaking? That's only the question mark.
I'd be I'm sorry, what? I was on Pro Football Focus's website on the top 20 right guards going into the season.
Or I would say it. He wouldn't respond. I'd move on. And he'd go, did you guys see Djokovic cry yesterday?
Yeah, definitely.
That was something. I didn't see that coming.
Read the story over here.
Somehow when your voice, like when you start speaking, he just like tunes you out. Like the Peanuts character.
Yeah, no, it's very flattering.
Wow.
It feels really good.
And I'm over here nodding. And Perloff is
you're
just like
trying so
in a
hard,
different planet.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Maggie's really interested in this.
Wah, wah, wah.
And then I think he looks at me and I'm also wah, wah, wah. Like something about this section of the show he just doesn't pay attention to.
Well, and if we're going down this road, a lot of times it happens, well, not a lot of times, a few times though, with the interesting stories that I'm hoping to get something from you guys, or it's been suggested, hey, do this here, and then I finish and you both are silent. I'm like, so, okay, how about the NBA Finals happened recently?
Yeah,
you guys
so
remember
in
that?
pole vaulting today.
Anytime there's a silence now, I want to definitely go to pole vaulting.
There was one pole that was not vaulted.
Man, Pennis, as I said, still elite in my book. Honestly,
What's the guy's name?
Pennis,
Doesn't matter. Pole vaulter 1.
You're asking
pole
me.
vaulter
I don't
with
even know
the
what
big
he looks like.
Details.
If the cops were like, he just robbed a bank, I'd be like, couldn't help you. I can only describe one specific part.
What did he rob it with?
His massive schween. I swear, officer, he just came in and I didn't know what to do.
Pennis. Schween is a word I've never heard before.
He told me he was an Olympian. I said, prove it. And he just...
And he did.
Man, we can't draw that.
Can you describe the suspect, please?
Imagine also if it was that person who drew Tom Brady in the courtroom and just made him look awful. It's like, no, that's not what I said. That's misrepresenting me.
He was about a foot. Wait, no. What are you talking about? He's got to be 5. No, he was a foot, I'm telling you.
And he was horizontal.
Oh my gosh, we are children.
Now imagine if he just inconspicuously won a gold medal in pole vaulting. That guy's life would just be whatever.
You're right. Not as cool. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. He can't win. You're right, Zoo. He can't win. He's got to remain this guy.
No,
Girth
he's
is rather
won.
large.
But that's what, he can't win a gold.
Oh, right. No, this is it. I'd rather take the fame than take the medal.
I mean, could you imagine if he also got to come back and get a redemption story? He gets the big schween and the redemption gold. What does that do for the rest of us?
Day 28 and the Today Show is still leading with this guy. It's like, I don't know. Our metrics are telling us that people really love him. And our top story yet again.
Big llama.
Men's pole vaulting. We're just going by the focus groups.
Ladies 18 to 49.
You said do Olympics.
100 rating.
It's just Maggie's high school text thread. And then all of her girlfriends just keep writing to NBC. Show more of the...
We need to see French pole vaulting on a regular basis.
Or diving. I'll take either.
That's right. He was French too, right?
Uh-huh. Penix looks really good.
Moving to Paris.
I think Peacock actually just picked that one up.
They have a whole channel.
I guess that
just
polluted
for the-
river must be doing wonders for him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're doing another triathlete event in the awful, dirty river water again.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to learn here? People are getting sick.
They're also getting big schweens.
I don't think that's the reason.
The green
It's a
giant.
gamble we'd all take.
It's like, oh, you got to swim in this nuclear reactor, but...
You see this guy?
I'm thinking about it.
I'll put it up as a
I'm
poll.
listening.
If I finish the sentence, I'll be fired. So I was just gonna dot this thing. You get the point.
Sports?
Nah.
We got that audio you wanted to play still.
Oh, let's do that next. There's audio. I'm told it's hilarious. I haven't heard it yet. I want to hear it. And we'll get to that. Also, an update on the Cowboys. How can you resist? Manny, thank you so much for your great work this morning. We're back in a minute.
And your service.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Oh.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Andrew Bogusch in for Andrew Perloff all this week. So I want to give you an update on the Olympics if you are curious of what's going on with Simone Biles this morning. So she slipped off the balance beam, did not make it to the podium in that event. However, she just won a silver medal in the floor exercise. So she's got that. So, overall, amazing. 3 gold medals and a silver from Paris for Simone Biles just in these games. I don't have her total for her whole career, but 3 golds and a silver. EJ, 11? 11 total medals. I don't know how many gold.
Yeah, how many first losers does she have other than the one today under the Pete method?
I believe this is her first ever silver outside of an individual at the Olympics.
Interesting. So this is what Simone Biles is. This is what happening today. She did get a silver in the floor exercise. Now, as far as the other American, Jordan Childs, she was competing on the floor exercise as well. As she's going through the competition, it looked like she was going to finish 5th. And instead, they did a judge's inquiry to see if she was not given the proper credit for how difficult her routine was, and they retabulated everything, and she actually got the bronze. So she ends up beating out this Romanian gymnast. Childs leapfrogs her after the score inquiry. Everyone was stunned, and Jordan Childs falls to her knees crying. This is going to be an amazing thing to watch later.
And I don't know the first thing about gymnastics rules. So I don't know how a judge's inquiry happens, but good for the U.S., I guess, right?
There we go. So from 5th place to the bronze medal. Not bad. Do we have the final count for Simone? EJ, go ahead.
Yeah, so Simone has 11 total medals. She has 7 gold. Then you got 2 silver, 2 bronze for her. What could be the end of her Olympic career this week.
Unbelievable. And even on a day when she just didn't have it on the beam, she's able to recover and get silver on the floor. Okay. I'll give you a little behind the scenes here in the studio. So Bogusch and I are sitting in one studio, and Big Zoo and Pete Pilati are sitting in another one. EJ's at the home studio, still recovering from his knee. It's double paned glass in between us and them. And I could hear you guys cackling like a coven of witches over something.
Good soundproofing in our radio studio.
A couple cracks in there.
We're saying now.
Okay.
All over the chair.
What happened?
You had an accident?
My headphones.
Uh-oh.
He had an
Wrapped
accident.
up in a chair. I was like being a Boy Scout over here.
Okay.
No, he had an accident.
Uh-oh. Another one? I thought now that Marash isn't here, we don't poop our pants around this studio. Anyway, what was so funny that you guys were laughing at that we could hear you through double pane soundproof glass?
Well,
share it with the class.
So we have any radio station, there's a folder full of bloopers.
Yeah.
So we were reminded, just talking back here, we were reminded of a blooper from maybe a decade ago.
Okay.
I was over at WFAN. This involved John Minko, one of our anchors.
Legendary radio broadcaster doing updates for Mike and the Mad Dog for many, many years, and still does St. John's play-by-play for basketball.
Right.
Minko's an amazing man.
And he had to engineer his own post-game show for after a Net game.
Okay.
He was doing play-by-play on the Net, so he had to engineer the post-game show.
Which was live in front of people as well.
So this is a decade ago. So Minko is probably... How old is he now? 70?
He's older than his age, right? Like in terms of technology. Someone should have realized this was a bad idea.
Right.
Not what I was trying to get at. Not that his age has anything to do with it, but not the most tech savvy person.
Correct.
No.
Just sort of an old school dude, and we love him for that.
We'll use a jitterbug. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he's got what's that thing called? Like the cassette player?
Yeah, right. Casio.
Casio.
He has not graduated to a DVD player yet or CDs.
He's got an 8-track as house.
Yeah. Love the guy. Absolutely love him. So we're about to hear legendary radio announcer John Minko as the engineer for his own post-game show.
Correct. Here it comes.
And once again, the Celtics defeat the Nets by the score of 86-77, Tim. And we're here in the Nissan Club. And the champion, and we're going to see if we're going to have some fans that are going to talk to us here. Do we have some questions? Yes?
All right, we'll take... Oh. Wow.
I understand. That's I don't know how to fix this.
Wow. Where's Carino when you need him?
I know. All right. Well, I guess we don't have questions, right? That's what we get. That's what's called in radio terms.
You just got to be careful of the speaker. Can you move right in
He
this
turned
area?
his mic off.
Okay. All right.
I guess not. Wait, you know what? You know what? Do we have?
I think this works.
Right here.
All right. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wait a minute. This is what we call in radio terms the nothing?
No, he killed his mic.
While trying to fix the crowd mic. He took himself off the air. So Nancy from Bed-Stuy was on the air.
Really
hosting
loud.
the show.
Yeah, I'm here. I think it works good for me.
Can you hear me?
You know these lousy bums.
I thought, you know what I thought it was at first when they go, let's go to a fan, and I thought the fan just started saying curse words, like
that's
just
probably happened
expletives, but instead it just was feedback from the speaker.
If there ever was a moment for a fan to take advantage of, it was that one.
That's right. But yeah, that's what I was laughing at.
All right, fair. This is good.
And we're done.
It just kept going.
That was the last Nets postgame show live in the club.
The last one he ran.
Honestly, they should have just moved the Nets right out of town right after that.
That might have been.
Who would have noticed? Thank you, Big Zoo, at our Zoom In. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to EJ Stewart in the home studios, Andrew Kaplan. Normally, I thank Andrew Bogish, but you're the co-host now.
See you tomorrow.
See you guys.